Welcome everyone to the top 32 at Driftland of DKRTR, Drift King of RTRiga Street. We are at a lovely day. Once again, the track is looking beautiful, the drivers are getting ready, and we're here. My name's Brandon, and we're joined with Ed, my co-commentator, and yeah, let's have a great event.
Absolutely. Gonna be a fun day today. What are you expecting to see?
I'm hoping to see some doors on doors. E46s and E36s absolutely adored each other. Massive thank you to the Scottish Virtual Drift Series for bringing the track to us so we can use this. And thank you to Super Drift Virtual to let us use the cars as well. As you can see, the semaphore is also ripping on track. He's actually getting a lap down as well. Come on, lad. We've got a stacked top 32 for today, and it is going to be very exciting. A lot of heavy hitters, and the qualifying yesterday was absolutely insane, with so many intense moments, quite a few zeros and quite a few high scores, and this track is not very forgiving, so we'll have to see how it goes in tandems.
Oh yeah, and the tandems are also going to be a bit interesting. I don't know if you peeked at the briefing section, but there is a interesting peculiarity with how to start on this track, how to initiate. So the lead drivers are allowed to use all the width of the track to initiate, but of course a 3-point initiation is not allowed. So the chase drivers, it's recommended for them to not be side by side with the lead car. It's recommended to be behind. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see.
Oh, for sure. The main thing with Driftland, just like in SVDS, it's always safer to do bumper-to-bumper initiation. Side-by-side is a lot harder to pull off on this main straight, so it's definitely something to keep an eye out for. But we've got a lot of excitement in store for us today. As you can see, the drivers are getting called back to pit, which means the action is going to be kicking off very shortly, as we have one other driver just going down the main street. Oh, and there he goes. So, top 32. Who do we have to start with? I don't think I've got the sheet with me. Has anybody got the sheet? Have we got a sheet? I don't know.
I can hook you up. We do have Luciano Barnero from Portugal going up against Ivis Bambans as the first ride of the day.
Perfect. Sweet. Well, there you go.
Wait,
yeah, can I get that sheet?
Link? Yep. There you go.
Thank you very much. Then there they are, coming up on to the holding area as we get them ready for their first run. Oh, there we go. Lovely. That's much nicer to see. As I try and get my overlay together. But here we go. Our first battle, Luciano to lead in Avis in the chase as they initiate onto the wall. Avis just holding back there, but manages to pull up and get the space between them. The proximity is a bit better, but loses his proximity in the transition as Luciano does a nice solid lead line so far. This is what we're looking for, a solid lead leads to a solid chase, but obviously Avis is really struggling here to kind of utilize that opportunity that Luciano has opened up. So the Latvian is currently struggling in the chase, but we'll have to see what happens as we get ready to switch them around. As you can see here, lovely initiation between the two drivers, but unfortunately Avis just couldn't utilize that opening that Luciano gave him. And just getting caught up in the transitions. This is the main part, is you really want to be there in the transitions so you can make the dive, as the street cars don't have the same capabilities as what a pro car would, so you have to really push it. But this is it's going to be a hard battle here for Avis now that he's in the lead. Switching it around now, Luciano in the chase. What can these two do with the poor Baltics on the front of that E46? Very nice dive there. Oh, a bit of a check up there from Avis in the lead as they transition in towards the power alley now. Luciano just making sure he knows what to do. Hopefully he has a spotter there telling him, yes, you need to be there, but don't be too close, as he wasn't that close in his chase. Look at this proximity as they come around now and across the line. Oh god, I started dying midway through that run. Oh god, almost got wrote off on the first run. What do you reckon, Ed?
Yeah, there was a great chase from Luciano. Unfortunate for Ivis in the first one, but yeah, it's really important in these ones that you have to anticipate the lead driver's transitions so you can make them at the same time. You did see that Ives had a little bit of issue to do that. That's why he had to back down on the second transition. That's why he lost some space on it. But yeah, Luciano did a much greater job at it. His proximity was way better.
Indeed. So it's left for Luciano, right for Avis, who is going to be taking the first battle in the top 32. And it is Luciano from Portugal going into the top 16. So unfortunately, Avis just not quite on his A game, but hopefully for the next street round, whenever we do it, we will have a stronger form in the form of Avis, and I don't think this is quite who we're supposed to have. There we go. So we've got Nickel Widka versus Marcus. Honestly, I'm me in these pronunciations. Is Marcus saying it? Marcus.
Yes, it is.
In the chase. So we've got Nickel in the lead, the Canadian leading in that Latvian. But look at the proximity there from Marcus. Doing a crazy job, but just almost falls behind there. But a nice transition between the two. Manages to get back on the door. A lovely dive. As they come through the power alley now, doing a nice job, kind of losing a bit of proximity there as Nickel goes past the offices. He's going to have to make a dive as he manages to get onto the bumper there as they come across the line. So that's a bit of a... it's going to be a bit difficult for Marcus in the lead now. He's got to put on the lead line of his life and hope Nickel makes a mistake.
Yeah, it does get a bit messy at times. You do have to be on point. Once again, I think it was... the fact that he didn't really anticipate the transition, but I don't know. It looked like he straightened out a little bit just mid-turn. Hard to decide.
Potentially sent him a bit shallow potentially on his lead line, or should I say chase line, as you want to be kind of front wheel towards the rear pocket of the front wing. That's the ideal space to be, but look at Nickel Widka on the top. Marcus straight away on the initiation as they go for the transition, gives him the space he needs as he goes back on the dive wheel to wheel as they come round through the power alley, going straight in. He is not here to mess around, ladies and gentlemen, as he comes through. Just almost straightening up there, but manages to save it as they come across the line. That was a bit of a scary moment there for Nickel.
Yeah, really close to actually crashing out as well.
Definitely, that was if I was him, I would have been a bit tense, that's for sure. Marcus doing a lovely lead though for Nickel to chase. Could have been a bit deeper on that first clip through the power alley, but manages to make it work. As you can see here, Nickel just gets a nice bit of a dive, but as they come through, he starts to kind of get a bit scrappy, but they manage to pull it off and get across the line safe. As you can see there,
I think there was a little bit of contact between them. I think he did tap him at the very end on his side that made him straighten out.
Potentially.
With some angle, maybe not completely straighten out.
Wasn't the best angle to see it from, but obviously the judges, like we were saying yesterday, if you weren't there with us for qualifying, they have plenty of tools at their disposal to see from every angle they need to, as this is the virtual world. As you can see here, once again on the replay, we're back to Nickel's lead, just getting a comparison between the two. As the Nickel was leading first. I'm going crazy. I'm losing my mind. It's only the start of the event as well, but as you can see, Nickel doing a lovely lead line throughout the power alley there. And coming around the office, there was just a bit of a proximity gap between the two, which did make it a bit difficult for Marcus to catch up on. But it's all in the hands of the judges.
I did check the replay of my own bracket yesterday, the qualifying one, and I was watching from the third person in the replay, and it is definitely clear that you cannot see all the details from these viewer cameras, so to speak. Yeah, my own run as well. Now I understand why I got 60 points. You can't really see if they go deep enough.
Exactly, and once again we do get another look at Nickel's chase and Marcus's lead. Very aggressive chase there from Nickel, probably a bit too aggressive compared to what he could be doing, but it's hard to say. Did get a bit dangerous there, as you don't really want to be wheel to wheel in that area, but he manages to make it work, and then just here getting a bit choked up, but he wanted to make sure he put the pressure on to Marcus and to solidify his place into the top 16, but we'll have to see what the judges think, as is left for Nickel and right for Marcus, who is going into the top 16, who will be facing the previous battle winner, and it is Nickel Widka getting 2 judges, so it was a split decision, almost. Well, I wouldn't say split decision, it was 1 for an OMT and then 2 towards Nickel, so they weren't fully on board together on that choice. But unfortunately,
Yes.
Marcus just not having quite enough to get in to the next stage, so hopefully we'll see him next time. But I keep saying
Split
this.
as it can be, yeah.
I mean, you could have had one. It gets a bit complicated when you go one way, one the other way, and then one OMT, and then it just becomes an OMT.
Yeah.
Sometimes the judges aren't always on the same they're not always on the same mindset. But that's what makes judging interesting. But it looks like we're going to have a buy run here from David as Vyacheslav. Is that Vyacheslav? I honestly,
Vyacheslav.
Oh, I kind of had it. Unfortunately, he has not made it for the top 32, so it will be David going into the top 16 through a buy run, which is not always the nicest way to get through. Obviously, he's going to be happy that he can get a better chance at getting to the top spot. And there's the 360. Love that. Lovely stuff. And as you
I
can
bet
see
Ryan
there,
is thinking right now that they could have put him in the spot instead.
honestly, I was having a chat with him earlier, and yeah, he wishes he could be a part of this section of the competition, but unfortunately, he just didn't have quite enough to get through. It's just the way that things are. Oh no, we do have a complete battle here. So it's going to be Matisse versus Vince. Matisse leading in, Vince in the chase. So we've got the Latvian versus the French. This is going to be an interesting battle as the lights go green. Here we go, E46 versus E46. Lovely initiation, but Vince is nowhere to be seen. But here he is. He's got the dive coming through. But can he get the transition nice? Just getting caught up there. Didn't give him enough room. He had to pull back, but gets right back onto the door. Lovely stuff so far there from Vince. But look at Matisse on that lead line. But oh, Vince just coming a bit too shallow. Almost taking out Matisse there as they come across the line. That is a very scrappy chase. So he's going to have to work very hard in the lead.
Yeah, very interesting what happened to him right on the initiation, because he was so far that he really wasn't seen by the cameras, and then he just snaps back into it like slingshots him in the pocket. These cars don't have that much power to do it, but somehow he managed.
I think at this point it was just the case of he was not quite ready for the launch. You got to be on your A game and make sure you're there and ready. As I have been caught out myself in competition on the start line, and it is not fun. But
Oh yeah.
here we go. We switched them around. We now have Vince in the lead with Matisse in the chase. So what can we see between the two? Matisse is right there, getting right onto the pocket of the car as Vince does a nice entry. As we come around now into the power alley, Matisse just getting up onto his grill. Well, getting in his grill, should I say, as they come around the office. Lovely angle matching there from Matisse as Vince does a solid lead line coming through and across the line.
Decent chase from Matisse indeed. Proximity was basically identical all throughout the run. He was right there. Didn't leave any space between them.
No, he
Just
did
a little
not.
bit.
He just did what he had to do. That was a solid performance between the two of them in that run. I've just seen a question in the chat. Maybe, you know, can I start a bit earlier as a chaser as IRL series? So generally, as long as you're not going over the start line before the green light, you are allowed to start rolling forward to prepare for launch of the lead driver. But yeah, just like someone else just said, you're able to do a roll, but you can't pass them. Yep, that is the case. You're not allowed to pass the start line or the lead driver. So you get to do usually that's why people sit back before they as they line up, so they can get the roll. But it is left for Matisse and right for Vince, who is going into the top 16. And it is Matisse with a unanimous decision. Lovely stuff there. Solid performance. And unfortunately for Vince, it just wasn't quite enough.
It was quite easy in the bag for Matisse, quite obvious, seeing from Vince's chase, but yeah, unfortunate. Let's hope we see him again next time.
Indeed. So there you go. So it'll be Luciano versus Nickel in the top 16 and David versus Matisse. But now we've got our Mans versus Manis versus Sandor Jakab So we'll have to see how that goes. We got Bernardo versus Alvis. We got Ritums versus Peter. Gregor versus Agnes. And that is going to be the last few battles for this half of the bracket. We will focus on the second half when it comes to that. But as you can see on the right hand side, it's going to be a stacked top 32 bracket indeed. So it's who do you think is going to take the top spot in the chat? I want to see your predictions. And we want to thank every single partner of DKRTR, both in the Street and the Pro Series, for coming along and making things possible and just being great people and great sponsors, as you can see on the bottom there. Go check them out and make sure to support them and make drifting great. That is the whole point in this sport. If we support each other, we wouldn't be... It's just the way of the land. So you support each other, we all have good things happen. And,
Exactly.
do we have a drift chat on board with the semaphore, or is it Moist Skids that is controlling the semaphore this time?
I think it's Moist again.
Okay, because so I think during the 2024 series it was drift chat, wasn't it? From memory, I think it was. Yes. I miss him. I miss drift chat. He's a good lad.
Oh, I didn't know it's a person. I thought it's like some sort of an actual chat.
That is no. So they're essentially a news outlet for anything drifting, which is really cool. They're always doing loads of stuff, and they work with loads of massive brands to do loads of giveaways and competitions, and they work a lot with Drift Masters as well, which is really cool. So they cover a lot of Drift Masters content.
See.
And also drifting community stuff as well, as he reposted my Poland Drift Masters vlog onto his story as well, and kind of did a little highlight, which was
there might be. I do not have the plugin that I need for it, but I can quickly make that happen. Send me the name of the plugin to switch between drivers. Sure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you're just going to have to bear with us for a minute. We're just trying to sort some things behind the scenes before we get our next battles underway. So, if you've got any questions, put them in the chat. Let's have a chat, let's have a chill, grab a drink, grab some food, put up your legs, and let's have a good time. As you can see. Right, everyone, apologies for the delays. We've just had a couple of issues getting the background computer stuff doesn't work, but we've managed to make it work. And as classic DKRTR fashion, we always had the gremlins in the stream, but we managed to get everything back up, so the action is back up and going. So next up we have Armand's Vesmanis and Sandor Jakob. I'm looking at the sheet, I'm managing to do it.
Nice,
If I struggle, you'll have to let me know.
Alright.
So actually, who's in what position? That is the question.
We have Armand in the lead and Sandor in the chase.
There we go. So Armand's leading in. Sandor looking very good. Bit shallow on the outside line there, but doing a nice job getting onto the A line as he comes around into clip 2, into the power alley now. But look at Sandor, he's right on the door of that E36, coming around in towards the office now. Looking very good. Lovely lead line coming through there with Armand's in the lead as they come across the line. That's not a bad start.
Decent proximity from him. Oh, I'm gonna have a lot of trouble trying to actually say something reasonable about the run, since I'm trying to just focus the right cameras for you now.
Yes, I can see a lot more now actually, watching this. Hopefully there's not a delay between what I'm saying and the stream seeing. We'll have to see.
There shouldn't be. There shouldn't be.
Fingers crossed. So now we have Sandor Jakob in the lead with Armand Vesmanis in the chase. As we just await for our start line marshal to send them down. They
I
are
believe we're
waiting
still
patiently.
on the replay at the moment.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, I can't see the replay, can I?
Yeah.
Here we go, so the lights go green. Sandor in the lead, Armand Vesmanis in the chase. Big flick initiation there from Sandor in that E46, but dropping one tyre as he comes around to clip 2. But Armand Vesmanis right on the door as they transition bumper to bumper into the power alley, but contact from Armand Vesmanis there. And could potentially be too much of a decel from Sandor that caused it, but we'll have to see what the judges say as they come around and finish up their run as they come across the line. Very unfortunate. A bit of contact there going into the power alley, but we'll have to see what the judges say.
Yeah, that was indeed a little bit messy. Could have been cleaner from Armand's there, I think. But yeah, I'm wondering what caused the contact. Was it a chase fault? Was it a lead fault? How do you think?
See, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Potentially Sandor could have just slightly over-angled and lost a bit of momentum as he came through. So it's hard to say, but it's all down to what the judges think. In the end,
He did
are just
park it quite a little bit over there, yeah. If I'm watching the replay on the secondary monitor, he did look like he slowed down a little bit, and actually I think the contact is what gave him the speed to proceed further in the track. And it's Armand's taking the lead.
There we go.
Armand's taking the win for this one.
Yep, Armand Vesmanis going into the top 16. So the contact was deemed at fault by Sandor, unfortunately, just over-angling into that section of the track, which is very unfortunate, but we'll hopefully see Sandor again in another event.
Yes,
the
so
RT Riga
next up we have Bernardo Pereira in the lead and Alvis Cheveris in the chase.
This is
Two
going to be
nice
interesting. I really like this.
E36s.
Oh yeah, I love delivery of the Bernardos. And as they initiate now into the first corner, looking very nice. So far, Alvis is just right now on the door of Bernardo, but as they transition to power, look at that, wheel to wheel almost as they come around into the second transition now, but losing a bit of proximity from Alvis, but he gets back onto the door as they come around past the office towards the last clip, which is a touch and go, and they transition across, but Alvis almost getting caught up there on the back of Bernardo's E36. So we'll have to see how they treat each other in the next run. It could get a bit violent.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I like the proximity, but some small issues at the end of the run, middle towards the end of the run. The beginning was very good.
It was indeed. Oh, have we got a stream back? Have we got a stream back from Medicus Lasmanis? Oh my god, we do. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I have my overlay back. I can see what's going on. I hope your CPU can survive this, Edgars. We'll have to see. But now the lights go green with Alvis in the lead, Bernardo in the chase. What can these two boys do? Red versus blue. If you ever seen that show, you've got a good culture choice. But very nice chase so far from Bernardo. But Alvis doing a solid lead line as they come around into the power alley. But look at the proximity between these two. They are absolutely door to door as they come around to the office. Bernardo is not letting up. He's got the proximity. He's got the pressure. Can Alvis not crumble with the pressure? But he does not as they come across the line. And they make a bit of contact as they finish up. But as you can see on this replay here, Bernardo getting right up in his door from the get-go. First corner is always going to be the hardest, as it is the fastest section that you go into with the biggest slowdown. But as they come around into the power alley, very lovely work there. Just a bit of a check-up from Bernardo as he halts transition so he can give Alvis the space. And they come across the line. It's not a bad run between the two of them.
Oh yeah, indeed. Bernardo definitely knew that he has to be close to Alvis in his chase position, because Alvis put a quite decent chase run up himself as well.
He did.
Really nice. Like to see this.
Right for Alvis, left for Bernardo, who is going into the top 16, and it is Bernardo. So lovely work there. We'll see him going against our Mans vs Manis in the top 16 later on today. But next we have got Rhythms versus Peter, as we just wait for them to get to the line. Unfortunately, Alva's just not having quite enough. But here you go, E36 versus E46. This is going to be an interesting battle, as we have them both sat at the line. So there we go, Rhythms in the lead, Peter in the chase. Let's see what these boys can do as the lights go green. They're going to fire it down in towards the wall at the famous Driftland track in Lochgelly, Scotland. But Peter is nowhere to be seen on the initiation as Rhythms gets a clear line to go ahead. But as he gets back towards the door, Peter is having to get up a lot of ground and catch up as they come around through the middle of the power alley. But there, look at the lead line from Rhythms so far, doing a solid job as Peter gets right towards him, but just not getting the proximity he wanted. And I don't think he's going to be very satisfied with that chase. So we'll have to see what happens when we spin them around, as Rhythms does a solid lead. Could have had a bit more of a. Well, as you can see here, he comes a bit shallow on the first corner. I think that's really the only place where he could have improved, to be honest, on that lead. It was pretty solid. As they come around, you can see Peter's just really struggling to get on that door. And unfortunately, it's going to be a very hard battle from him from here on, as he kind of leaves it in the hands of Rhythms in the chase. So he's got to put on the best lead line he can to make sure he gets that solid spot towards the top 16? Top 16. God, my English is really terrible today. But here we go, as Peter now initiates in for Rhythms to chase. Doing a nice initiation, probably a better lead line so far, just from that section in the first corner. But look at Rhythms right on the door, bumper to bumper in the transition as they come into the power alley, looking very solid between the two, nice and smooth, driving between both drivers as we go. Oh, but my word, he almost over rotates as he comes towards the finish line there. What happened there, Rhythms? What happened? Just going a bit too hard, I think, potentially, or it could be Peter kind of stalled up on him. We'll have to see what happens in the hands of the judges.
I don't know, from my perspective it did look like Peter put up a really decent chase run. It didn't look like he checked up anywhere. He was wide out on the line, and he hit all the boxes as necessary. That was a really good run.
As you can see there, it did look like Rhythms just overcooked it. Maybe just dived a bit too aggressively, and that's just how it is. It's drifting for you.
Yeah, if you take a line a little bit too shallow. Yeah, he did overcook it a little bit, I guess. Didn't catch the steering wheel on time, maybe.
I think it's more the question of he just dived in a bit too hard on the when he finished the transition. And he was like, oh, okay, I am about to hit this man. I need to pull away.
Yep, gave her too many beans.
Yep, too many beans, and that being kind of an exhaust in that E36. Famous for being straight pipes in Driftland, that's for sure.
Yeah.
If you've ever heard a M50 or an M52 straight with a straight line exhaust. Oh, it is tinny, very, very tinny.
I probably have, but I just wouldn't recognize the sound since I don't know. The sound is not the thing that associates cars with me.
Honestly, it's such a unique sound. It almost sounds like when you were a kid. Did you ever get a can, squash it, and then like do car sounds into it? That's what it sounds like. But
I think I did that.
So we got left for Rims, right for Peter, one for an OMT. And it is a one more time, so there was mistakes between both drivers there that just they couldn't deem as going either way. So we'll have to get them refreshed on new tyres, fuel up their cars, and get them back onto the start line for their next battle.
Interesting.
It's always good when you got a second chance.
Yes, you don't see OMTs very often. I don't remember if the last race we even saw any.
You'd be surprised.
Top32.
When I was battling in SVDS in previous seasons, I had multiple OMTs, and then I lost straight away after. It's always the case, isn't it? That is the thing with an OMT. It can be a blessing, but also a curse, as your opponent does learn your driving style.
Yes,
so
it tests your endurance and your your consistency.
Exactly. They learn how you drive. Makes it a much harder battle in the long run. So it becomes the battle of attrition, essentially. But as we have the lights go red to green, we have Rhythms back in the lead. Peter in the chase. Can Peter get closer this time? But oh, he's just slacking on the initiation there. Not quite as close as he should be. You'd think he'd learn from the last one, but as he comes around, he is much closer this time, doing a much nicer job of getting that chase where it needs to be as we come around from the power alley towards the office now. Doing a lovely job, but Rhythms is just putting on a solid lead. Unfortunately, Peter's just not being able to catch up with him, and there's clearly a pace difference between the two.
Definitely. That was a really nice lead run from Rhythms. I didn't see any, not even tiny corrections in the angle and in the line.
It was a textbook lead.
Yeah, Piotr was pretty far away. I was definitely expecting him to be closer this time around.
I do think it's down to set at this point. Potentially, Rhythms has just got that slight better grip. Oh, I don't know. It's just there clearly is a pace difference between the two. As we have them switched around now, Peter chasing, well, should I say leading in for Rhythms, as Rhythms gets very dangerous on the initiation as they come around now towards the power alley. Rhythms is right there on his door, but Peter doing a good job in the lead so far as they transition now. Is it going to be the same as the last round? Last battle, should I say. Oh, just going for the dive there. There's a big pace difference between the two, but as they come around, he doesn't make the same mistake and they come across the line. You can definitely tell the speed difference between the two just from that lunge.
Yes, exactly. It might actually be the setup difference if you tune your car to be a bit faster, but it might come back to bite you. If your car is faster in the chase than the lead's car, you want to go faster than you can, basically. So you have to pull it down a little bit, but you not always you can do that, especially in these cars.
I have a feeling it's honestly, it's hard to say. Left for Rhythms, right for Peter, who is going into the top 16, as this is a judge sport, so it's all down to them, and it is Rhythms going into the top 16. So next up, we will be getting Gregor versus Agnes, and whoever wins this battle will be going and meeting Rhythms in the 16, which will conclude. This is our last battle of the first half of the bracket. So we will be seeing the first half of top 16 completed very shortly, but right now, we've got Gregor and Agnes at the line, with Gregor leading in Agnes. So we got the Norwegian versus the Latvian as they initiated. Gregor doing a nice controlled entry there. Agnes just being right there where they need to be as they transition now. Doing a very solid job between the two of them so far. Looking very smooth, but look at that wheel to front arch. Absolutely pinning it on the door as they come around through to the office. Oh, look at the little jabs, the little dives. It's like a boxing match almost between the two of them. But Riga just misses that last touch and go. So we'll have to see how the next run goes between Agnes and Riga in the positions being swapped around. I'm brain farting so much today. I don't know what's going on, Ed. Like,
That was so close. Well, today, here it's already 8 p.m. I believe for you it's already 6 or 7 at least.
yeah, around
So
6 p.m.
It's not as early up a competition as it was yesterday in the quali. Evening gets to us, you know.
Oh yeah, it's been a long day. But here we go. We got Agnes in the lead, Riga in the chase. We just had our Starline Marshal just checking to make sure that they were ready. Doing a little light test. But here we go. 2 the E36s going against each other. One white and red, one just straight red with white. Here we go as they get sent down the straight with the checkered wall on their left-hand side. Lovely initiation there from Agnes so far as Gregor gets right up in that pocket as they transition now towards the power alley. Looking very solid between the two of them. Lovely smooth line between them. Oh, but maybe a bit of contact there made in the transition. You can see a bit of a stall up. I'm not sure what happened there. But as they come around now towards this finish line, but more contact. So Gregor just not giving Agnes enough room to transition. That is going to be a big problem for him.
Yeah, and it actually makes Agnes straighten out when crossing the finish line. When you should be, you shouldn't be straightening out coming across the finish line. You should be transitioning when crossing the finish line, and only then straightening out. But it might have been Gregor's fault. Let's see what the judges think about it. I was looking on the other side, so I was watching the outside of the track, not the inside of the track at that moment. So I can't really tell myself.
Well, we'll have to see what the judges think, but I definitely say Gregor definitely didn't want to make it easy for Agnes there, but is right
Indeed.
for Agnes, left for Gregor, who is going to be finding rhythms in the top 16, and it is Agnes, the local Latvian, meeting rhythms in the top 16. So that is the first half of our top 16 bracket complete, which will see Luciano versus Nickel. We have David versus Matisse, Armand versus Manis versus Bernardo, Rhythms versus Agnes, and now we move over to the right hand side of the bracket. As you can see here on the screen, we have Dominic Bojmanis versus Iskender, Artem versus Ihor, Daniels versus Tamas, Vova versus Juan, Andres versus Riho, Yanis versus Carlis, Angie versus Konstantin, Taima versus Oleg. This is going to be an interesting set of battles as we have the second to top qualifier versus the second lowest qualifier. So this will be a very interesting top 32 half, as you can see. And obviously Dominic Bojmanis has a lot of experience on Driftland, so he does have the upper edge here. But can Iskender take him down? That is the question, as we wait for the drivers to get into the server, have a couple of practice runs, and then we'll get them up onto the line. We hope you are enjoying the stream so far, as we have got amazing people behind us making this possible, as well as the amazing staff team making everything run smoothly as much as they can. Unfortunately, we just have technical issues coming and plaguing us as always, but we're back, we're good. We hope you're enjoying yourselves.
Got it.
So we're just receiving information about the new OMT kind of procedure that we're doing. So what I've been told is, so when we have an OMT, usually you have them sat in the holding area while they grab the next set of drivers for the next battle. What we're going to try and do from now and test is, instead of having the OMT drivers come up again straight away for their OMT, they're going to go to the end of the group of that bracket and do their OMT, and the next set of drivers will be able to continue with their battle. So let's see how that goes. You never know. We're trying new things, and obviously we've got to test these things as it happens, otherwise you just never know if it's going to work. But we hope you are enjoying the event so far. As you can see, all the drivers getting their practice runs in. Looking very interesting. As you can see, there's a lot of close proximity. Oh, and don't know what happened there. Luckily, it's just practice, so hopefully they don't mount the grass like that in their runs.
It might have been the sign, a wall tap on the sign.
I'm not too sure. Either that or they just gave up. We'll have to see.
I'm not in the server anymore. I don't see those lines. So I'm relegated back to watching these cameras. Should be enough.
Oh yeah. Here we go. So, just scrubbing the front wheels there. I'm gonna guess that's Dominic Bergmanis, as he is really taking it, making sure he scrubs those fronts. Yes, it is. So that is Dominic Bergmanis. I don't know where Iskender is. There he is. So E36 versus E46 once again. So let's see what these can do. A seasoned veteran of Driftland is Dominic. So can Iskender bring him down as the lights go green? They start to fire it in towards the straight. Big flick initiation there from Dominic, but Iskender is right there on the pocket of Dominic, but just starts to separate, but brings it back once again. Nice transition between the two as Iskender does a nice dive onto Dominic's door there. Coming around through the centre of the power alley. He's right there on the back of his door, but can he keep it there, or will Dominic pull away? He is slowly. Can he get the proximity back as they come across the line? He just gets there. Lovely work there from Iskender and Dominic. That's a solid first run between the two.
It really was. You could, of course, get a little bit closer, which Dominic's is definitely going to try to do in his chase run, I'm expecting and assuming. But that was a really solid lead run from Dominic's and a really solid chase run from Iskender as well. Didn't really see much wrong with any of it. Just maybe here at the end, Iskender might have overcooked it a little bit, went off the track with one wheel. Hard to see
as they get switched around now. I know what Dominic's like. He goes very hard in the chase at all times, but he is holding back a bit, but does a big dive onto Iskender there. Look at the proximity between the two. Absolutely insane so far, but just almost takes him out there as Iskender comes around through the center of the power alley. This is what I mean. Dominic Bergman is no stranger to pushing people around the track in his chase. He is a violent chase driver as they come around across the line, bumper to bumper. Wow. What a second half of the battle. Iskender trying his hardest to put on the best lead line as he can. Dominic just, yeah, he just said, nah, I'm having you.
Yeah, I'm gonna take your door back home with me.
Ooh, but look at that there. As you can, I've just noticed Iskender as he came around the corner, straightened the wheels out and almost lost all of his speed. So that would be why Dominic surged so hard in that corner in the second transition. Or should I say first transition. That was a interesting little moment there. As you can see, the next set of drivers coming up to the line while these two await their decision. Who will be going into the top 16? That is the question. Dominic not having the best season in SVDS, so hopefully he can try and make things a bit more interesting for himself in this series, as he is really enjoying the street cars from what I've heard. As you can see here, just comparing the lead to chase in the first set of runs. So left for Dominic Bergmanis, right for Iskender, who is going into the top 16. Who is going to take the first battle on this side of the bracket? And it is Dominic Bergmanis getting into the top 16, his first win of 2020, well, first battle win of 2025 from what I know. So he is going to be very happy to hear that. So who will be up next against him? That is the question. We have Artem versus Ihor. Who will be going up into one of them that will be facing Dominic in the top 16, but who? We will find out. So we got Ihor in the lead. Ask him to chase. As we wait for our lovely... Oh, yep, that is correct. As we wait, there we go, the lights go green. And what will we see between these two? Is it going to be a fist fight in the drift cars? We will see. But Artem doing a nice job on the first corner so far. Ihor just right there, making sure he is where he needs to be. This is looking really textbook from Ihor in the chase. As Artem does a lovely lead so far though. As he comes around past the office, this is looking really good between the two of them. Can he give him the space in the transition? Yes, he can. What a first run between these two drivers.
Good stuff. And they are both from the qualifying from the mid pack, so 15th qualifier for Artem and 18th for Ihor. And a really decent combination of drivers. Good chase, good lead. But that's what happens if you put similar skill level drivers in a bracket.
Indeed. Is it Ihor? Is that how you actually say it?
I think. Well, he's Ukrainian. I don't speak Ukrainian, so I'm just guessing it's...
But here we go, Ihor in the lead, Artem now chasing. This is going to be a very interesting one as they come in now with a lot of aggression. Oh, but Artem just getting a bit too much angle, which puts him short on the... Very shallow on the chasing line so far, but they managed to kind of get it back together. Ihor doing a solid job, though, in the lead. Artem having to push as hard as he can to make sure he is right there with him. So far, this is looking really good as they transition out across the line. That is a scary moment, though, on the first corner there from Martin.
Yeah, indeed. Took a bit of an inside line that almost sent him basically almost crashing into him. It's very good that he managed to save it. And get back in the doors, basically. The proximity and the mimic of the angle was pretty good for the rest of the chase run.
Indeed. I think the main issue with that initiation, when you have too much angle, it does set you on that inside line, as you don't have the same capabilities as a pro car to just throw it in and keep it wide. Yes. So we'll have to see what the judges think. As I do love the way they look though, those E36s. I keep looking at them on Marketplace myself right now. I'm very tempted to get one. I do love the way they look. The headlights are just awesome on these things. Like the front end of an E36, just stunning. As you can see here, this is Artem's lead and Ihor's chase, so they're just comparing the two. But look at that from Ihor, just in a solid chase. So much control in there.
Wheel on the doors at times as well. Really nice.
This is a very solid top 32 so far. Really good battles. As we just wait for our judges to come to a decision.
Did you have time to get into practice server yourself yesterday and try them out?
I did not. Unfortunately, I got busy creating some media for my team. Well, for myself, should I say? Because it was just me. But I actually had my... Oops, so it's left for Artem, right for Ihor, who is meeting Dominic Bochmanis in the top 16. 1 for Ihor. Oh, this is going to be interesting. 2, and it is Ihor going into the top 16, meeting Dominic Bochmanis. Lovely stuff there, Artem. Just unfortunately not having quite enough to move on. But like I was saying, my teammate from Team Reverse actually just won round 2 of CDS yesterday.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh yeah, well proud of him. Absolutely, he drove his heart out, and we had a little bit of a good time and celebration in the Discord chat while that was happening. But we have Daniels in the lead with Tamas in the chase. 2 E46s. What will we see between the two of these as the smoothie designs? Oh, but look at that from Tamas, getting right on the door. Look at the transition from this man. He is on fire right now. But Daniels just getting a bit wide there. Obviously, he is a Latvian champion, the national champion, so he has got a lot to prove in the sim. Well, he doesn't have a lot to prove in the sim, but he wants to prove himself in the sim as well. Oh, but just a bit of contact there from Tamas at the end. Could be lag related, but we'll have to see. But that was a crazy chase from Tamas, getting really close. A lot of moments where he made his marks, but as you can see here, diving a bit too aggressively and has to fall back off. But the transition here was absolutely textbook. But as you can see, Daniel's just going a bit too deep there in the lead. So there were mistakes made both by both drivers as Tamas comes across, almost tapping the rear end, but as he tries to get the second dive, just straightens out and just makes contact with Daniels there, stopping his transition. So that will go against him.
They both stopped their transition across the finish line, so I don't know what happened there.
That will be down
Thomas
to the contact. That will be down to him clipping the rear bumper.
It's interesting
It's
though
unfortunate.
that it didn't cause the cars to shake or I don't know, turn even a little bit, so it was just a tiny amount of contact that just straightened them both out, I guess.
Yep, just getting a bit too aggressive on the chase, trying to make that dive, which you don't really want to be doing there. You just want to be on the rear bumper, not in it.
Yeah,
but Tamas and Daniels both making mistakes on that first run. They've got to try and dial themselves in for the second and force another one to make a mistake, essentially.
Or just be way better, or just run away.
That's the thing in drifting.
In the dust.
Doesn't always work. It all depends on how well you've got your car set up and how well you can drive the track. Okay, so we've got an interesting situation just happened. So Daniels is going to be moving on to the top 16, and unfortunately that is down to the lead driver not listening to the track marshal when he should have been. Unfortunately, he just didn't go up onto the line when he was asked to properly to line up, and unfortunately, if you're not listening to our track staff, it is going to go against you. So unfortunately, that's just going to be the way this battle ends. Daniels will be moving on. I'm good to see it go like that, but unfortunately, you do have to listen to our track controller, and if you don't, that is the punishment. Unfortunately, as the track manager is his word is Bible.
Never seen that happen before. I think that's a first.
That is. I've never seen that happen before, and I've been in the sim drifting scene for a long time now. Yeah. So unfortunately, that's what happens when you don't listen to our track manager. But we now have Vova versus Juan. Vova leading in the Spanish man, ATDT chasing in. That's Ukrainian. But look at this between the two of them so far, looking very solid as they transition. But look at that one almost clipping him as they come around into the power alley. It's looking very solid from Vova there. They're in the lead so far. In the lead. Oh my god, I can't even speak today. And look at that proximity from Juan as they come around onto the last transition, but almost getting caught up. So this is the thing though, you can't be too in the pocket for too long, otherwise you do get caught up. A lovely job between the two of them.
Yeah, just you do have to leave some space for the transitions indeed, but very smooth transitions they were. I really like this run from both of them.
I think Juan's just getting a bit too aggressive in the chase on the transitions. It's hard to say, but we'll have to see what happens when they flip around.
That probably comes down to anticipation of the lead driver.
Oh yes.
Because you're probably anticipating from how you would drive the lead.
You always got to base it off on what you can see. But here we go, the lights go green. Juan in the lead. Vova in the chase. Oh, look at the initiation from Vova there. That is the closest we've seen all of the top 32 so far. As they come around now in towards the power alley, this is absolutely crazy from Vova. Juan just getting absolutely shown up here by Vova in the chase. But as they come around to the office, Juan doing a lovely lead in that ATDT E36 as they transition now. Look at that from Vova. That is a textbook chase.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, he knew that he has to push it, so he did. Lovely to see that.
Crazy. That initiation was beautiful. And it's very risky to go side by side as well, so very brave move. High risk, high reward, and clearly this man got rewarded for it. What a battle.
Of course, as we already know, you're not recommended to initiate side by side, since the lead driver can use the entire width of the track for his initiation. So if the lead driver bumps the chase driver, it's the chase driver's fault in that case. Luckily that didn't happen, and we got to watch this nice run. And
it is
Vova takes the
Vova.
win. Yeah.
Lovely stuff. Beautiful, beautiful work there from Vova Sesnov. Doing just exactly what he needed to do to get that victory. So he'll be going against Daniels in the top 16. But now we have Andreas Kleinsberg versus Riho Kopso. I think that's how you say it. I'm always gonna second guess the way I do my pronunciations. But as you can see there, we have our first 2 battles in this side of the top 16 bracket sorted and ready to go. They are locked in. They are Gucci. They are good. This is looking like a really interesting top 16 so far.
That's right. It's not only the top qualifiers, of course, which is also interesting to see.
I can see them good against each other.
Yeah, as it's different from the other tournaments where you would only see the top 32, basically the cutoff line to be like 80 something points, 85. This time I believe we have 67 as the cutoff point. Yeah, it makes for a much more different and interesting tandems, I think.
Oh, definitely. This is what I love about street stuff, like street cars in a competition. They're so much more interesting to watch sometimes. As you can just tell, they're pushing as hard as they can.
Yes.
And I think that just makes it for a lot. It makes up for a lot more interesting battles. But we hope you're all enjoying the show so far, and thank you once again to everyone who has stuck around while we had the issues, and we do apologise for the delay. But we managed to get everything good and going, as you can see. And we're having a great time so far.
Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? I'm a bit jealous I can't get to do the tandems with the boys today. But there's a time and place for everything, and it's not today and here.
You'll get another opportunity soon, my friend.
Let's hope so. To see the drivers already having some fun on the track. Oh, the blue and pink E46 just stands out. Even here from this shot, from this camera angle, I just see that all the time.
Ooh. Done another fudge chocolate on milk tray, and oh boy, that is some good stuff. If anyone's from the UK and watching, you'll know how good Cadbury milk trays are. Honestly, top tier chocolate. That or oh god, what are they called? Lindor chocolates. Oh, honestly, top tier.
I think even I have had them in the past, not even being from the UK, and they definitely were good.
Oh yeah, it's hard to compete with Cadbury though. Cadbury's just I love my Cadbury.
If you ever get to Latvia, get a Serenade. That's one of our, I think, in my opinion, the best ones that we have.
I do like them. I do. I think I had something not far off when I was in Poland, but obviously weren't the same brand, but roughly the same area in the world. I'm pretty sure the next door neighbours ain't yeah?
No, they aren't. We have Lithuania in between.
Ah, that's it. It's because Latvia's more towards Russia, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you got Lithuania, and then Poland's towards Germany. That's what I was thinking. I love that part of the world, though. Honestly, like that whole like Eastern Europe, gorgeous. Really, really cool to visit. Definitely want to come to Latvia this year for Drift Masters, that's for sure.
Oh, will you?
That's the plan. I want to come as well. Hopefully, I'll be joining Muse Akiba for his Drift Master season once again as part of his team. But we'll have to see.
I'm definitely going.
Oh, it's going to be great. But here we go. Andres Kleinsberg versus Riho. Andres to lead, Riho to chase. What can we see between these two? White versus red, both in the E46s. with the pink wheels on the back, but look at the initiation from Andres. Riho nowhere to be seen until the second clip as they transition now. Lovely transition between the two. Trying to get back on that door of Andres is Riho, but he's kind of struggling as they come round towards the office. He makes the dive and gets onto the door right where he needs to be as they come round towards the finish line there, but almost getting caught up in the last transition there. Got to be careful. Got to be really careful on that last section, that touch and go. You want to be kind of almost transitioning before, or well, you want to pull back early so then you can get the transition and get the dive. It's hard to say. I've not driven this layout yet, so I'm trying to figure out how it would run.
You definitely have to. You're absolutely right in what you're telling. And have you not driven this layout? I think you said yesterday.
Not this exact one. Not this exact one. I might have done something similar in SVDS, but not this exact layout. But generally, that section of the track you want to be very careful. As we have them switched around now, Riho to lead in Andres Kleinsberg, but Andres is right there with him, getting the dive onto the pocket of the door. Yes, he does. Riho doing a nice job though with the pressure on board with Andres as they come around towards the power alley. Look at Andres just right there on him, doing what he needs to do as they come around towards the offices now, getting the dive onto the door, giving a little smooch, getting a little tap and a rub as they come into the last transition now and across the line. Lovely job there from Andres, giving him a tap there as they go across, saying, yeah, I just did that to you. What are you going to do about it?
All the proximity, none of the space left in between them, and definitely a lot of tire marks on Riho's door. That was some good stuff.
It was definitely a chase and a half. He just knew that he had to put a bit of flair in just to solidify his place into the top 16.
Honestly, that's just what I would expect from Andres. Seeing him in many other competitions and servers, that's just what he does. He gets in your door, he paints your door with his tire marks.
Yeah, I feel so sorry for whoever has to paint Riho's car next. Whoever has to own the car next, should I say.
Teleports to pits.
So we have another comparison there between the two. Riho just struggling to get the proximity, not finding his marks, not utilising the lovely lead line from Andres Kleinsberg. Honestly, being a native English speaker from England, I don't know how I'm struggling so much today.
It might be the names. It might be the fact that you have pronounced a lot of foreign names that are not familiar to you, and that's messing with your tongue.
Possibly, but it's left for Andres, right for Riho, who is going to be meeting. Well, we haven't even got the next battle for them. Who is going into the top 16, and it is a one more time between the two, so that's an interesting one. So clearly there was too many mistakes between the two of them to kind of make a decision. So we're gonna have to, I think, are we going to be doing it so we get the next battle up, and then we'll be doing Andres and Riho last? I think we are. Yes, we are.
Yes.
So now we're going to have Yanis versus Carlos. Carlos, that's the one. I couldn't see the eye then on the team. So Andres and Riho will be the last battle of the top 32 now for their OMT, as we have Yanis Clocks leading in. Carlos, E36 versus E46, what have they got for us as they initiate in? But where is Carlos? He is nowhere to be seen. Yanis has just got a straight line into the lead so far, but just almost over-rotating there, so makes a massive mistake. So that kind of counteracts what Carlos had in the lack of proximity at the start of the run. So we'll have to see what happens with the next set of the battle as they transition and go across the line. That was definitely an interesting run between the two of them.
Yeah,
almost
a lot
nowhere to be seen.
Indeed. Very late initiation from Carlos, but on the next transition, Yanis definitely overcooked it with the angle and slowed down a lot, which caused the contact.
It is unfortunate between the two of them, but this gives it an interesting balancing point between them on the next run, because now it's anyone's game.
Yeah, and they both have to keep pushing as well. They can't just rely on the other to make the mistake.
Exactly. It's one of those where you think, is Carlos going to have an incomplete? Is he going to have an inactive chase? But is very hard for an inactive chase to kind of be enacted. So unfortunately, Yanis now has a massive disadvantage here. So he's going to have to work hard, but also Carlos with that massive lack of proximity on the initiation. It's anyone's game. It's going to be an interesting one for the judges here, as we just wait for our start line marshal to get them ready to send them down the straight.
A nail biter. Yep.
Something could be happening in the background here. We'll have to see. Maybe the judges have spotted something that they don't like, and they're just quickly. Okay, so just been fed some information, and the judges are just overviewing the start of the previous run to see if Yanis took too long on the start line when the lights went green. So we're just going to see what is kind of happening. So just bear with us while the judges kind of make a decision on that.
If you remember from yesterday, Yanis also didn't see the light in his quali runs.
Oh. Okay, so once again, more information being fed to us. So because of how long it took for the lead to leave the line, we're going to do a rerun and let them redo their tyres, as it was not the chase's fault for the gap. And now we're just going to redo Yanis's lead. And let's Carlos move into the chase once again as the lights go green. Once again though, Yanis doing the exact same again.
Yeah.
That's...
He just doesn't see the light. It looks like he just doesn't see the light at all. It doesn't work for him for some reason.
But then it's hard to say, because Yanis has to be seeing it if he's going.
I think he started to move after the chase driver started moving a little bit.
Yep, but then
some stammering.
Because the chase driver can't overtake. Once the lights go green, he had to stop, and that's when Yanis launched and gapped him. And it's happened to me before, so we'll have to see. Once he's just not going.
Same thing.
There we go. Right, so now we have Carlos. I think potentially we are going to be seeing Yanis get knocked out because he is just not cooperating with the start lights.
That really unfortunate.
That is the case. He's just not paying attention to the start lights. Something's not. Either he's got a delay on the start lights, or he's just being reluctant and trying to pull a bit of a trick, which has happened to me before.
See it at all. I think he just doesn't see it at all. Since he also had the same issue yesterday in the quali. I do remember that he had the same issue in both his quali runs yesterday. So there must be something wrong with his CSP or something.
Then again, though, drivers are always asked to make sure that their CSP and lights are working correctly. So that is technically classed as a mechanical fault in the sim. But as you can see there, Konstantin has not appeared for the top 32, which means Angie gets a byrun into the top 16. So the French do make it through with smooth sailing into the next one. And it's very unfortunate. I was really hoping we could see a clean battle between Yanis and Carlos, but unfortunately,
yeah, of course,
CSP being CSP, we always get some sort of issues from one of the drivers in that sense. And this is why you always check your CSP settings and make sure everything is turned on and working, even if it means you take it into solo, and check on the semaphore itself that the lights are working before you compete. This is one thing that we always stress to every driver in every competition. So please, please, please make sure your CSP is working properly. But Angie is going to be going into the top 16 via Byron. Doing a nice little Byron for you, doing a little show. But
was
now we
also
have
mentioned in Discord to take care and to check if your lights are working. So
Exactly.
no excuses.
Exactly. We have said multiple times, but now we have Timer versus Oleg. So here we go. Timer leading in the Ukrainian, which is Oleg. So here we go as the initiating Oleg right there with a Timer right on the door, almost wheel to wheel as they transition towards the power alley. Losing a bit of ground there, but can he get the dive? Yes, he can. He's right there as Timer does a lovely lead line so far, but Oleg just losing a bit of ground there, just had to shallow up and kind of straighten the angle just to get back on the correct line in the chase. But as they come across the line, he gets right back onto the door.
Interesting.
That
Good proximity from the start, but yeah, he lost it somewhere. I think he almost crashed into his door, so he had to slow it down a little bit, and he lost some space.
Yeah, I do think so myself. As you can see there, he just lost himself in the transition and had to almost shallow up the angle too much to try and get back on the line. But we'll have to see what the judges think as we go in and swap around as Oleg now leads in. Timer. Can Oleg force a mistake out Timer? And even the odds as we have the lights go green. The silver E46 with the with the red E46 chasing in. But so far, not as aggressive as he could be in the chase, but gets a nice transition there. Gets the dive right onto the pocket. Oleg doing a nice job in the lead so far though. As Timer comes around, he doesn't make the same mistake as Oleg as he gets on the same line, right wheel to wheel, front wheel to rear wheel as they come around and across the line. Very, very safe chase there from Timer, but he knew what he needed to do to make sure that it was a bit tidier. That is strategy.
Exactly.
Oleg not doing a bad job though.
He definitely knew that what he needed to do. Of course, far from an inactive chase as well, but proximity was good.
Oh yeah.
And at the end here, really wheel to side, wheel to door.
Well,
I would hate this beautiful looking E46, the silver one, get knocked out from top 32. I want to see it again.
Which one?
I'm biased. The silver.
Very, very nice job between the two, but who's going to the top 16? And it is Timer. So Oleg just not doing enough. So Timer will be meeting Angie in the top 16. But now we have the battle between Andreas Kleinsberg and Riho for that one more time, which will decide who goes against Carlos in the top 16. But as we have them come back onto the track now, we will have to see. I've got a random question for you, Ed.
Do it.
What is your favorite microwave?
I don't have a microwave.
What?
Yes.
It's 2025.
I
Or do you have an air fryer?
No, I cook food the old-fashioned way. I have a stove and I have a stovetop.
Ah, nice. I respect that. Get a better flavor out of it anyway, and you get just a lot more out of it. But is there going to be any spice from these boys? As we have Andreas Kleinsberg leading in Riho, but Riho is nowhere to be seen. There he is once again, just popping up onto the screen, just saying, "Hey, I'm here. You ain't taking me out." As they come around into the power alley, Andreas Kleinsberg doing a lovely lead line. But Riho, once again, just too shallow, trying to keep the proximity and sacrificing his line. But as they come around past the office towards the finish line, he manages to get the proximity. I do think that is going to make it a lot harder for him in the lead. He's going to have to push hard.
Indeed, Riho lost a lot of ground after the first transition as well. He definitely initiated a bit too far behind, and as you see here, there's a lot of space between them. You could squeeze another car in there. And the shallow angle here as well.
That is very unfortunate for Riho. Just a bit too lax on the chase. But I can imagine Andreas is going to be... He's going to push it. And
yep, he's going to be on the door.
Here we go, Riho leading in Andreas Kleinsberg. He's right there, rear bumper to bumper transition. Or should I say initiation? Don't know what I'm on about there. Lovely stuff so far between the two of them though. But look at Andreas Kleinsberg on the transition coming into the power alley. He is right on his door. Riho has got no chance of moving around him as he gives him a little nudge, reminding him he is right there as they transition out across the line. That is a really powerful chase. And I think that was a bit of a statement made there from Andres.
Yeah, indeed.
Andrew,
Yeah.
I didn't quite hear what our lovely stream manager was saying there. I think he said, so Andres Kleinberg took second place in the first round of DKRTR Street, so he is definitely a big contender here, as you have Moist Skids on the semaphore, just kind of playing around, teasing the drivers, reminding them, I'm the man who... He's like, look at me, I'm the captain now. I run this track. As we await for the final decision of the top 32, this will set and lock in our top 16 bracket. Who's going into the top 16? Andres Kleinsberg on the left, Riho on the right, and it is Andres Kleinsberg taking the top 16 spot against Carlos. So we'll have to see what happens between them two, as Carlos didn't get really a fair battle in the top 32. So we'll have to see what happens.
Oh,
Look
yeah.
at that. Look at that. That is our top 16 bracket. We will be entering into this very shortly, but we got Luciano versus Nicol. We got David versus Matisse. We got our Mans versus Bernardo. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Me and my names today. We got Rhythms versus Agnes. We've got Dominic Bergmanis versus Ihor. We got Daniels versus Vova. Andres versus Carlos. And Angie versus Timer. What a stacked top 16 we've got. Don't go anywhere. Grab a drink. Grab some food. And we'll be getting straight into the action very shortly. But while we're doing that, what do you think so far, Ed?
Oh, it was interesting. It was a bit messy, of course, but yeah, lovely runs. Some interesting mistakes, and I do really hate to see drivers drop out because of technical issues, because of semaphores not appearing for them, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, I do see some really good names in top 16 already, so that's going to be a very interesting battle when it gets to the final, I think. We have some really good contenders, and we're gonna from now on see even cleaner tandems, even less proximity between people. Well, yeah, less proximity between people. No gaps whatsoever, all the tire marks on the door. How do you think?
Oh, I definitely think there's going to be quite a bit going on here. But as we do this, make sure you take a quick restroom break, everyone, as I'm going to do the same quickly, and
Hey.
It's going to be a very, very interesting time. So as we wait for our top 16 bracket to begin, make sure you put some questions in if you have any for us to answer, and we will try and answer them to the best of our ability. As I've just looked into the chat, and when is the next Drift Street race? Or Street Drift race? That one, you're going to have to keep an eye out on the Drift King of RTRiga or Racing Team Riga socials, as currently there is no dates set in stone for the next round. It all depends on when we can get things together, so please make sure you go and follow all of our socials, which is Racing Team Riga, and we will keep things updated through there. And once again, just another massive shout out to everyone who is involved and who is watching. We appreciate everyone's work and time. That makes all of this possible.
All right, back.
There we go.
Might I ask, why was the microwave question? That was.
I don't know. I just felt a bit spontaneous. I just felt a bit spontaneous.
Okay, what's your favorite microwave then?
Probably a Bosch 900 watt. Usually they have quite a lot of tray space, and they're quite effective at what they do, to be fair. I'm a bit of a nerd with this kind of stuff because my family owns a appliance store, so I live around this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so you can hear people nerd about it all the time.
Well, it's not so much nerd. I just hear half the time it's usually phone calls of my washing machine's broken. Been making this sound. What do you think it is? I'm like, probably the belt, probably the drum belt, or the squim. I don't know. Probably one of the two. And if for anyone who this is probably going to sound really boring, but the squim is a little bracket on the back of the drum, which essentially is one of the counterbalances. It almost acts as the central counterbalance for the drum. So when it spins, it stays nice and central, and it keeps it solid. So if you didn't know that, now you don't. Now you do. And if you don't want to use that information, that is up to you, because it is such a boring fact.
Hey, washing machines have a lot in common with a Drift BMW in the fact that they also have a big spinning wheel.
That is true. Did you know also they live longer with Calgon?
Not sponsored.
If I don't know if that's an advert that's played anywhere outside of the UK, but it's a little
I think
jingle
I've
that I
seen
heard.
it somewhere. I think I have a hunch that I've seen it before.
Yeah, it's quite a famous advert in the UK. Washing machines live longer with Calgon.
I
Lovely
don't
little
really
jingle.
watch TV anymore, so I wouldn't know if it's still played, of course, but I think it was played when I was a kid.
Yeah, they're still making new adverts for that to this day using the same jingle.
Oh, why?
I don't know why we're talking about. I don't know how we've managed to get to the topic of washing machines, but hey, to be fair, E36s and E46s are not too far off a washing machine. They're basically made out the same material. Let's be honest. And to be fair, if you have the right looking washing machine, it could almost look like the front of an E46.
Yeah, just tape a BMW badge and a 3M badge on it, and you're good to go. It's gonna wash faster.
To be honest, you're not wrong. They are just big bathtubs, ain't they? Just big German bathtubs, especially the convertibles. I say that like I'm not going to buy one. No, I'm buying one.
They are so expensive, especially the convertibles. I've seen the market. And quite often I just go to the ads and just browse through them, just drool on good-looking cars. Yeah, they're a bit out of my reach for the moment.
See, it's funny because the owner of SVDS and the person who created this track, Ryan Scott, who was in qualifying yesterday, unfortunately couldn't make it to the top 32, but he is insistent that the E36 is God's chassis. And
Yes.
I'm not denying it, but I'm also not agreeing with it, because S chassis are still king. That's my preference, but I wouldn't mind having an E36 either. I mean,
I, of course, have never had a chance to drive an S chassis in real life, only in Assetto, but I have to say I haven't gotten them in a good setting or what. I don't know what it is, but I just don't vibe with them for some reason. I would choose an E36 over an S chassis any day, to be honest.
Yeah, I could see why. It's all about preference. I mean, the E36 is basically the German S chassis, so it's why they're so competitive, especially in VDC's 5.0 data at the moment.
Is the S chassis a bit longer than the E36? Because I think that it is.
Body, I think they're very similar, to be honest. In size, and they're not too far off each other from weight. That's why they're so similar in the weight. Like, their steering geometry's kind of different, but they're not too far from each other. Like, it's generally they're not too bad, like in comparison. But I have driven one S15 spec car as a street car before in real life, and that was an experience. It was actually the first car I drove.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, it was one of the first ever time driving a car. And that was
That's insane.
Oh, honestly, it was definitely, because it was basically a reward for taking photos of it. So I was like, I'm not gonna say no to that.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't say
a lot
no
of
to
trust.
owning one as well, because you could just sell it and buy 3 E36s, for example.
Yeah, but then S chassis, they've got a lot. I love them. I do love them. I'm just waiting to see him come into the. I'm waiting for Ryan to come into the stream chat and just slander me for saying that S chassis are better than E chassis. But let's be honest, it's hard to compare them because they're just both really good. I love
Yes.
both equally, but I've always been more attracted. Look at the 3-man going on the track though. I just
Nice.
noticed that. What? Oh look, and another
And
one.
another one. They're
Oh.
getting all the practice out of it.
It's alright, they won me over.
I'm not gonna wait for a
E36 over
chase. I'm gonna
Chassis.
sandwich you. Yeah.
They've won me over. E36 over Chassis. You've heard it here, folks. I was actually
Well,
looking to do a E36 for my next pro car in the sim, so we'll have to see. But I'm also looking at a JZX100, so very different kind of car.
There's tons of them available. Just choose your favorite mod for it, I guess.
But I've got access to the GT7 model of the E36, so I could make it hella spicy. But also at the same time, I really want to do a JZX100 chaser. They're awesome cars, and people don't think they think they're so big and heavy, but they're not. They're actually really light for what they are. So quite a competitive chassis as well. And if you are from the UK or have ever looked into UK drifting, you'll see Mike Wanacott and Hayden Krutschak both drive pro in JZX100s, and Mike Wanacott actually won Drift League last year, so it's quite a well received chassis in the UK, which is why I'm kind of in love with them.
Yeah, I did try it out for DCGP initially. I was thinking that maybe I'm gonna take that, but I settled for a Mustang in the end. But I did like the JZX, the Mark II, the Chaser.
Yeah, the 90. I don't know. I love the 90, but I prefer the look of the Chaser. I think the 405, perfection. Like it's a VIP looking car, while also being an awesome drift car. Like they just look aggressive, but they look luxury at the same time. There's something about it. It's almost like the Nissan Elgrand. It's a 7-seater family car basically, really big, but they're so beautiful. Especially the later, like the early, later models. They're just so nice. They're so practical, but they have like this aggressive look to them at the same time. The same with the E36s. Like, they just have that aggressive front end and look really cool, while also being quite a nice car and comfortable car to drive.
The Elgrand looks, might I even say, stanced even in the stock.
Yes, I agree. They just have really low bumpers and skirts, and I think it looks so sick.
Yeah.
I'm looking at one for myself as my next daily. But I've heard the fuel economy is not very good on them, which is unfortunate, but we'll have to see. But here we go, the first battle of the top 16, Luciano versus Nicol Waker. Who is going to be going into the top 8? We will have to see, as we have the Portuguese versus the Canadian. This is going to be a battle to remember, I can guarantee that, as Luciano is our top qualifier versus the 16th qualifier. So we're going to have to see who does what as we have the lights go green. Luciano launching off the start line there, as we have Nicol right on the back bumper as they initiate into the first corner. Looking very nice there from Nicol so far, but Luciano doing a solid job in the lead, keeping it smooth. The transition looks good as Nicol gets the dive. Yes, he does, but has to pull back as he almost, I think he almost thought he was going to hit him there. But as they come around towards the office, they're doing a lovely job, but Nicol just losing a bit of ground there as Luciano does a lovely job in the lead and across the line. So he's going to have to make sure he's closer than Nicol was throughout the whole run. But the Portuguese are looking very strong so far.
Yeah, very interesting run indeed. Very smooth at the very beginning, but on the second transition, a lot of hiccuping from Nicol. He definitely tried to get back in the door, but I think overcooked it a little bit and had to dive back down. Didn't really manage to catch him until the end, so he was basically behind him, not right next to him.
We will have to see as we have them flipped around. Nicol in the lead, Luciano in the chase. Apologies for the silence. I was just trying to ask a question to one of the mechanics I speak to about my MX-5. But now we have the lights go green. We have Nicol in the lead, the Canadian leading in the Portuguese. Look at the dive from Luciano there, doing a lovely job, just having to pull back for the transition though, getting a bit almost choked up there, but manages to make it work as he come around into the power alley. Looking very solid so far, the Portuguese driver Luciano doing a solid chase, but almost having to hang back as Nicol comes around and does a lovely lead coming across the line. That was a lovely run between the two of them.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice proximity from Luciano. He definitely didn't stay back at any point. Didn't stutter.
I'd say it's one of those where you're going to have to look lead for lead, chase for chase. Nickel did have some moments where he hung back a bit too much in the chase, and obviously Luciano did a lovely lead as well. But when you flip it around to here, Luciano did a really nice chase, had a couple of moments where he hung back, but not as much as Nickel did. So it's all going to be down to who did the better lead and who did the better chase, and they're going to have to compare the two. As we await for a decision, it's going to be an interesting one. Portuguese are coming in very strong today.
Oh yeah. Is he the only Portuguese who qualified?
I'm not too sure. We'd have to check. That's something I'm not too sure about. As you can see here,
we
we
also
do
had
have
Juan in top 32 as well.
Yes, we do have another replay of Luciano's lead compared to Nickel's chase. So you can see here kind of what happened beforehand.
But Juan was Spanish, so my apologies. Mixing it up.
We're just waiting on a decision from our judges. This is the thing though in drifting, never leave it in the judges' hands. If you can't help it, make sure it's decisive. But it's left for Luciano, right for Nickel, who is going into the top 8. And it is a unanimous decision for Luciano. I'm not going to try and say your last name because I will butcher it, but congratulations to Luciano. And unfortunately, Nickel will be finishing his event today in the top 16. So next up we have David versus Matisse. I love that name.
Oh, this is going to be a fun one.
Oh yes, E36 versus E46. This is the biggest argument between a lot of BMW owners who has the better one.
Why not both?
Exactly. I love them both. I mean, the E36 is a bit boxier and I love it, but I love the E46 as well, especially the facelift. But here we go, David leading in Matisse. And look at that, a lovely dive so far from Matisse, making sure he doesn't get too close so he can set up for the transition, which he does now. Look at the transition there from Matisse, doing a solid job. The Latvian is absolutely on fire right now, as David does a lovely lead line. The Polish man is making sure he gets into the next section of this round, but right now he's got to finish the run and go against him in the chase and across the line. That was a really lovely run between them.
Yeah, looks like Matisse has definitely figured out how to properly do a transition and not lose any ground. That was really beautiful from him. Also, very nice lead from David. Because you can't really put up a good chase run if you don't have a good lead run in front of you, on this track at least.
I agree wholeheartedly. I just rhymed there. I just realised. As you can see though, we have them back at the start line as we've swapped them around. As we have Mr. Matisse in the lead. And David to chase, so we'll have to see what they can do with each other in this next run as the lights go green. Matisse now leading in that E36. Lovely initiation there from Matisse, and David is right on the door where he needs to be. Is he going to have time to pull back? Oh, just almost getting caught up there, maybe nearly making contact in transition, but makes it work very nicely. Look at the transition from David though, as he is right on the door, going past the office on Matisse. What a chase so far as they come across the line, making contact as they transition. So we'll have to see what the judges think of that. Is it over the line? Is it still behind the line? We'll have to see.
I think that still counts as contact since you're supposed to transition over the line, and I think David just didn't leave him any space to do that properly. So that's why the contact was made. But yeah, this transition just before the office, that was another beautiful one. So David definitely knew that he has to bring his A game in the chase.
Definitely. Unfortunately, I think he just left it a bit too late to transition. He stayed in the pocket for too long on that last one to go across the line.
That comes down to anticipation of the lead's transition as well.
It does indeed. But then again, it is a rhythm. It is a rhythm game. You got to make sure that you give. You got to know when the transition timing is coming up. So who's going into the top 8? Is it David on the left or Matisse on the right? Who is going through to meet Luciano? And it is not a unanimous decision, but it's going to Matisse, the Latvian driver, with a plan to take over the world. as we will be seeing him against our top qualifier in the top 8. So now we have Armands Vesmanis versus Bernardo. This one's going to be interesting because Armands is definitely going to be trying to bring the heat, but so will Bernardo. Once again, another Portuguese driver chasing in a Latvian local in Scotland. You wouldn't think that, really, would you? It's crazy. We're currently at Driftland in 5 Flock Gilly. And if you ever get the chance when you're in the UK, make sure to go and visit this track IRL. The staff are amazing. The track coordinators are absolutely insane at what they do. Everyone is just a big family there, so you will be welcomed with open arms. But here we go, Armands Vesmanis leading in. Oh my god, look at the proximity, just getting a bit too aggressive there, making contact. Bernardo getting a bit too crazy. But as you can tell, he's got to go hard against this man, Armands Vesmanis, which is doing a lovely lead so far as they come around. Look at Bernardo right on the door. He is not giving him room to go anywhere. He's saying, I see you, I'm going to bring the battle to you, and I'm going to make it a living hell for you, as they now get ready to go around.
Yeah, when we thought it, you couldn't get any closer from Mati's chase run and from David's as well. These guys prove you wrong. Bernardo definitely put a good one up. This proximity, look at this. Wheel to the door.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Just that one mistake on the initiation, making contact, going in a bit too hard, but he knew he had to push hard with Armands. He is a man possessed, as they would say, and he is wanting blood in this battle. As you can see now that we switch him around, Bernardo in the lead, Armands in the chase. What can he do? Big initiation between the two of them. Armands making sure he doesn't make the same mistake, gets the dive onto the door as they transition now towards the power alley, doing what he needs to do, finding his marks, making sure he goes and dives in the correct spots as they transition towards the office, looking very nice between the two of them. But look at Armands Vesmanis right on the door, just like Bernardo was in his chase, as they come around now into the last transition and across the line. Ooh, getting close to that barrier though.
Decent, beautiful. Well, this one's a nail biter as well. I don't know who give this one to, who I would give this one to. I definitely don't envy the judges at the moment. Might even be an OMT, because OMTs don't only happen when there's mistakes. OMTs also happen when they're both so good that you can't tell the difference.
I do think it's hard to say, but obviously there was the mistake from Bernardo in the chase.
Yeah.
On making contact in the first run, so we'll have to see what the judges think, as they will be comparing both leads and chases between each other.
But I kind of think Bernardo's proximity in the chase was better than Armands in his chase, but yeah, it's also not that easy to see from these camera angles. Now we're going to see that. Yeah, here's the replay. It's all
down to this contact. Who is deemed at fault? Yeah. Is Armands too heavy on the decel, or is Bernardo going in too hard? That is the question.
Yeah.
It's all down to that moment. That is going to be the deal breaker in this battle. As you can see, just wow, Bernardo really on his case. And he did a lovely transition at the end. So it's all down to that contact at the first part of the battle on the initiation. And I can guarantee you they're both going to be sitting there in anticipation, as well as I am, because I'm intrigued to see who goes through. Judges are going to make sure they spend a bit of time on this. As you can see now, we have Armands chasing Bernardo. As we get a comparison between the two, was there any mistakes made by Armands in the chase? That is the question, as he makes a good transition there. Gets the dive on, no contact yet. Not really that shallow on the angle or the line either, so it's a pretty textbook chase from Armands here, so that could be the deciding factor. But it's left for Armands, right for Bernardo, who is going into the top 8 between these two. It was a titanic battle, and it is a one more time, so we're going to have to be seeing them at the end of this group go again, as the judges just couldn't. It's going to be, must have been down to it might have been a bit of a shared fault there on that first part of the run.
Maybe. So it might have been interesting to hear the judges' opinion on this, if we maybe can get them in. But yeah, I guess on one more times it's not really that necessary. I think it's maybe more useful, to get the judges' opinion on a real nail-biter win
Well, now we've got Rhythms versus Agnes coming up to the line to get their top 16 battle underway, as Armands and Bernardo will get the chance to battle each other again in the one more time after this battle, as this is going to be technically the last battle of the group. But here we go, Rhythms in the lead, Agnes in the chase. Two Latvian drivers, both in E36s. What will we see? A side-by-side initiation from Agnes. Look at the proximity though, straight away, but it looks like Rhythms could have been a bit shallow on the line there as he comes around and manages to get everything back together. But can Agnes play nice essentially in the chase as they come around past the office, but just absolutely on a belter of a run between the two of them. A very fast-paced lead, but Agnes is right there and across the line. That was a very interesting initiation.
Indeed. Man, every run today that we've watched has been interesting in some sort of way. Can't really say this is a boring event at all.
I do think that Rhythms was a bit shallow on the outside line.
Yeah.
Which I don't think Agnes was kind of prepared for, but unfortunately as the lead chase driver you have to be prepared for anything. So we'll have to see as we flip them around. We'll leave that. That's once again is the situation of leaving it to the judges, which is the last thing you want to be doing in drifting, especially in a competition. But Agnes now is going to be in the lead, Rhythms in the chase. As the lights go green, we start sending them down the straight. What are we going to see from Rhythms in the chase? Ooh, but what happened there? Was there a little contact with the wall potentially? But Agnes bringing it back together in the lead as they come around now to the power alley. Rhythms makes sure he sits back and just plays where he needs to be. To come around past the office. This is really nice driving between the two of them though, with the windshield wipers just going across the line. Clearly got some dirt on his windscreen from the previous run. Might have it's an interesting one that's going to be judged, that's for sure. As you can see there, maybe just, I'm not too sure if he hit the wall, but it looks like he just struggled a bit with the angle on the initiation. Something happened there that was a bit funky, and there was a bit of a correction, so Williams was quite smooth in the chase. So we'll have to see, once again, like I've been saying, never leave it in the hands of the judges, because now it's down to them.
Exactly. I think it might have been the wall tap. I can't imagine anything else that can make the car behave like that. Just lose a little bit of the angle. Maybe not giving it enough gas after releasing the handbrake if you use the handbrake for initiation. That might be it, but...
Could have just bumped the engine slightly.
Yeah, I was also waiting to comment on the windshield wipers. That's an interesting choice as well.
Oh, they were on from the whole time. Just wanted to showcase that it had working windshield wipers.
Yeah. That's also, like, if you're in the market of selling your E36, that is a key element.
I mean, to be fair, I'd say it's an optional extra.
I mean, visibility is it's all right to have it. Not mandatory, but
left for Rhythms, right for Agnes, who is going into the top 8. And it is Rhythms. Unfortunately, Agnes just having that mistake. Maybe, I'm not too sure, but it's unanimous decision. Rhythms going through to the top 8. Unfortunately, Agnes just not having quite enough what the judges wanted to see. Going in. But now we have the Battle of the Titans once again. This is probably going to be a lot more aggressive between the two. As we have the one more time battle between Armands versus Manis and Bernardo. I feel like this is going to be all-out war between the two of them, as they're going to be wanting to get further into the competition. And both of these drivers have been going hard so far. And, if anything shows in that top 16 battle previously before the OMT, yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, get your shouting voice ready for this.
Oh, don't, because I'm already starting to feel it. Here we go. So the lights go green. Armands versus Manis leading in Bernardo. What have we got? But they're getting right in there, nice and deep onto that outside line. But look at the Bernardo, just right where it needs to be. Lovely transition between the two. Right on the door, gets the dive onto Armands versus Manis door. As he comes around now towards the office, is Bernardo right there? Yes, he is. He is right where he needs to be. Look at the pocket. He has found it as they come around into the last transition. Is he going to give the room? Yes, he is. And across the line.
Textbook from both of them. Really lovely stuff.
absolutely insane. Bernardo just making sure he did just enough on that initiation. Didn't want to get too aggressive and make contact. He's just, yeah. As you can see here on this transition, that is the perfect place you want to be in that section of the track.
Yeah.
That is textbook chasing. That is right where you want to be putting the car.
Definitely
So now,
agreed.
our man has got to, he's seen the challenge and now he's got to raise the stakes. As Bernardo is in the lead with Armand's in the chase. Latvian versus Portugal. Here we go. Armand's just a bit shallower on the proximity there, but just giving him a little tap there. Almost gripping up too much and straightening out, but as they come around into the parallel, they're looking pretty good now. Nice and smooth lead from Bernardo, but Armand's is right there on the door, right where it needs to be. Don't get too far up in there, Armand's. You don't want to catch him in the transition, and across the line they come. I do think that Armand's had a bit of a weaker chase. Just had that
a little
bit.
bit.
As you can see here,
I don't think there was contact, but yeah, it was really close to it.
It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I think he let the car shallow up the angle a bit too much. And, was just trying to edge in as much as he could. But once again, with the chase that Bernardo did, it's hard to. You have to kind of go all in. As the once again coming in for the donuts and the semaphore. Are they going to be doing donuts with the semaphore?
Yes, they are.
And the semaphore's doing burnouts. What a world we're living in. Absolutely beautiful. It's good to see that they're having fun, having the battle of their lives. As the lights go green on their donuts, he has given the seal of approval. And now
if I understand correctly, the semaphore has 800 horsepower in it, so it definitely goes.
It is insane. Honestly, these EVs are going crazy these days. As we wait for a judging a decision, look at that. Just absolutely beautiful showmanship here between the two of them. And our track manager, Moist Skids, just having a great time with them. This is what it's all about. It's all about community and having fun. And it's just coming out in its purest form. As we have another look at our man's lead against Bernardo's chase. I just want to get a comparison for all of you guys. As it's just, what a battle. Oh, but it looks like we have a decision. Left for Armand versus Manis, right for Bernardo, who is going into the top 8 against Rittums. It is going to Bernardo, so the Portuguese man coming in with a plan, taking down the Latvian local Armand versus Manis. So it is going to be Luciano versus Matisse, Bernardo versus Rittums in the top 8 on the first half of that bracket. So now we've got Dominic versus Manis versus Ihor, and then we've got Daniels versus Vova in the first quarter, or should I say the first half of the second half of the top 16 bracket. This is very interesting, and we hope you're all enjoying so far. Keeping it on the edge of your seats as these drivers are going all in for everyone at home. What do you think so far? Who do you think's gonna take this half of the bracket?
It's really hard to tell. I don't know. I would put my money on Dominic's for sure in the first run, and in the third, I probably would say Andres as well. But in the battles between Daniels and Vova and Angie and Taimar, I am really undecided. I don't know.
Going to be
but
an
of course,
interesting one.
I also don't want to jinx it. You know, Caster's curse is a thing.
That is true.
I'm saying that with a lot of caution.
I've never heard anyone call it the caster's curse. It's always been the commentator's curse. That's interesting.
Well, I've heard that called the caster's curse in CS games.
Okay. So you're a
Counter-Strike
Counter-Strike fan, are you?
Oh yeah, a little bit. I don't play it myself that much, as I enjoy watching the professionals.
Okay. It is quite entertaining to watch, to be fair. It's a very good spectator sport compared to being the player. I play a lot of Counter-Strike myself, and I actually just unboxed a Gut Knife Autotronic recently, so quite happy about that.
Congratulations.
Got 2 knives.
Even finally paid up.
Oh yeah, I've got 2 knives now that I've both unboxed. It's a really good time. But enough about other games. We're here in Assetto Corsa at the beautiful Driftland in Lochgelly 5, Scotland. and this is a really nice track to visit in real life. So if you ever get the chance, they have multiple events going on throughout the year, and we also are currently in the mid-season of the Scottish Virtual Drift Series, who are responsible for making this track, and thank you to them for kindly donating a custom-made layout for this competition in collaboration with DKRTR Street. And thank you to all of the sponsors and partners who have come on board to make everything possible, as well as the entire judging team, staff, track managers, everyone involved, as well as our lovely leader Edgars Lasmanis, who runs and oversees everything and is our stream manager. So you probably won't hear him. He does come in and feed us information occasionally, but hopefully he can come say hi on the stream. But a massive thank you to everyone, and to you, Ed, for coming on board with me. And I'd say for the street side, it's more I'm coming on board with you, but it is great to be here, and we hope you are all enjoying everything that we show you guys. And I'm gonna just start getting emotional. I love drifting. We're all here for the love of the sport. I just seen a comment saying fair one, but Vesmanis was good also. Yes, Vesmanis put a massive fight up for Bernardo. So he's definitely proven himself.
What can you do if you have a beast like Bernardo against you?
Exactly, but now we've got Dominic Spursmanis, an SVDS driver, as well as DKRTR driver, coming in with Ihor in the chase. But look at Ihor, he's right on the door, but just getting a bit lost in the transition there, having to kind of dive back onto his door as he does a nice job in the lead. So far Ihor's kind of struggling to keep up, but there he is, right on the pocket of Dominic as they come around now across the line, just getting a bit too deep maybe on the lead on the concrete, but we'll have to see what the judges think of that. Ihor definitely struggling to keep up with the pace for a bit, but Dominic maybe making a mistake or two in his lead as well. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, there was a little bit of angle stuttering just before the first transition from Ihor. Other than that, a pretty solid chase, and also a solid lead. From what we see from these cameras, the proximity at the end is very nice from Ihor.
Oh yes. I think the main mistake that Dominic made in that lead was just touching the concrete with one tyre as he went across the line. But
right,
we'll have to see. Mistakes may have been made by both drivers as the lights go green. Ihor in the lead. Dominic Bergman is now in the chase, and he is notorious for being an aggressive chase driver, as you can see here, right on the door from the get-go, giving him a push around the first corner as he goes into clip 2, getting a bit too close there, but manages to make it work as they come around into the power alley. This is textbook chasing from him so far as they come around towards the office now. He's going to push him around that big outside zone as they come towards the touch and go. And look at the early transition there from Dominic, come right on the door across the line. That is what I was expecting from him. This is what he is known for. But Ihor did a great job in the lead, and especially to keep up with that, all those little nudges and pushes as well. He took it very well.
Yeah, that was good that he didn't spin out from that, but what a chase from Dominic's. That's a sight to behold. Lovely transitions. He definitely anticipated it right, and left in just enough space. Basically, just enough space.
Oh, and we got some rings. This just shows though.
We're both happy about it.
Oh yes, this just shows though the people, someone that's been a veteran of driving in a series which has just been Driftland for multiple seasons. It just goes to show the experience of how well he knows the track, as well as the car, as well as he must have been doing a bit of practice with these cars beforehand. But Ihor putting up a really good fight as well, as you can see in his chase. Doing a lovely job there. Just a bit of a stutter, trying to make sure he didn't make any contact in the transition. And that is a good thing to be doing as a chase driver, making sure the lead has room to transition.
Mm-hmm. But is this particular layout also being run in SVDS at any point?
Not that I know of. This is exclusive to DKRTR at the moment. I'm not sure if we've ran it IRL. We might have done, more than likely. But I might be able to. I know that Ryan is currently watching the stream, so if you can confirm if this layout's ever been ran anywhere, I might be able to get a confirmation on that. But I don't remember doing this in SVDS, so this is designed for more low power cars in mind.
Right. If I remember correctly, this was the winter layout, the snow layout for this, because when my brother got into the track for the first time, there's like 20 something layouts for Driftland. and he picked that one by accident, which also turned out to be this layout.
Okay. So left for Dominic Birchmanis, right for Ihor, who is going into the top 8 on this half of the bracket. Here we go. Oh, and it is a one more time.
Oh,
Okay. So that's very
Interesting.
interesting. So we will be getting them to, they're going to have to now wait until the very end of the top 16 bracket on this half of the bracket to run there one more time. So it will be Daniels versus Vova up next for their top 16 battle. Here they are, Daniels leading in Vova. But yeah, this is very interesting. So it's going to be a much more aggressive battle when we see them go up in there one more time.
oh yeah.
And what have we got now with Daniels leading in Vova? Vova right there on the door from the get-go. Just doing a nice bit of proximity as they transition now, but look at the dive. Just maybe could have been a bit more aggressive there as he comes around into the power alley. Daniels doing a nice smooth lead though for Vova to chase, but losing ground there, just getting gapped as they come around to the last section, but Vova gets right on the door and goes for a massive dive as they come across the line.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice of a chase line at the very end there, just to get some ground back up. Yeah, looked very solid from Daniels in the lead, and pretty solid from Vova in the chase as well, up until the very end here, where he somehow lost ground. I don't know what happens, because it's not in between a transition or something, it's just in between a section. He just becomes slower.
That is very interesting. We'll have to see what happens though, as we have them flipped around now as the lights go green. Vova in the lead, Daniels in the chase. What can they do? Oh, getting a very aggressive there with the side-by-side initiation, but just tapping his front wheel as he comes around the first corner into clip 2. Getting very aggressive, but tapping Vova in the transition, getting way too aggressive and not giving him the space which he needs to transition, but he manages to keep it going. Vova reacting very well to the aggressive chase of Daniels as they come around now for the last transition and across the line. So I think Daniels could be getting penalised quite heavily in that chase for those mistakes. As you can see, he came up very shallow. You can see here, just getting a bit aggressive. It was very nice here until they came towards the transition. He surged too early and he had to come up short. But Vova doing a good job of handling that tap.
Yeah, that was also really interesting. Don't know really what to say this. Don't know which box to put the victory vote in.
I do think this might be a bit more clear-cut than you think.
Yeah.
I do think this could be a very clear battle, to be honest. I think Vova with less mistakes. I mean, this is the thing though, we see things differently, we have different styles of opinion.
Yeah.
But it's left for Daniels, right for Vova, who is going into the top 8. And it is a unanimous decision going to Vova Seznov, the Ukrainian, taking the win over the IRL Latvian champion, which is
You definitely were right about that one. Yeah.
I've got a fair bit of experience on this track and in the sport, but once again, I'm not a judge. I'm not trained up to know. So it's all in the hands now of Andreas Kleinsberg leading in Carlos, but Carlos is just nowhere to be seen as he comes now on the dive of Andreas Kleinsberg's door. But coming around into the power alley is looking very, very scatty from Carlos in the chase, trying to get that proximity back by sacrificing his line, but manages to get to the door, but starts to get gaps once again from Andreas as they transition now across the line. It's going to be a hard one for Carlos now, going into the lead. He's got to push hard and hope that Andreas makes a mistake.
Oh yeah, but if you remember, Andres is also one to give a really close chase every time. So he's going to be on the door of Carlos. He's not going to be holding back anyways. He just has to watch out for Carlos not to make any mistakes in the lead as well.
Definitely. It's all in the hands of Carlos now, essentially. He's got to fight hard. As Andreas Kleinsberg chases him into the famous Driftland wall. Gets very close, side-by-side initiation almost. And look at the proximity there from Andreas. What's he going to do in the transition? Does a nice slow dive there. Oh, but making contact. Maybe too aggressive there as Carlos comes around and manages to take it like a man. As he comes around past the office, Andreas maybe getting a bit too aggressive, a bit too enthusiastic as they come across the line. That's an interesting one for the judges to make a call on.
Oh yeah,
And this
Definitely
is what I mean.
similar to what I expected. A very aggressive chase from Andres, but I do definitely think it might have been a bit too aggressive at some points.
We'll have to see. It could be down. Could Carlos have decelled as he came into that transition? And maybe just too much off throttle. Maybe it's all down to what the judges see. We can't really see as much. But as you can see, Carlos just having a good time, doing some rings after that battle. And we'll have to see who is at fault for that contact, as that will be the deciding factor, I think, for this battle. As we get a nice set of rings between the two. It's good to see that they're enjoying their time.
Oh yeah.
As you can see, Andres' lead once again. Carlos just nowhere to be seen on the initiation. But once again, it's a hard one. Does that outweigh the contact that was made by Andres? It's hard. It's very hard to say. I'm not a judge, so I can't really say who's doing what, to be honest. At this point, it's all down to the judges. Leaving it in the hands of the judges once again.
Yeah, but luckily the contact didn't cause Carlos to over-rotate or lose anything, lose any line, go off track or anything. So it might not be that big of a deal, but I guess you know better about this.
Oh, so we got one for Andres, one more for an OMT, and it is going to Andres Kleinsberg. So potentially it could be down to Carlos just decelling too much. That caused the contact. Maybe it's he was not on throttle enough, and it slowed him down. But we'll I don't know. Could we get a? We'll find out what happened from the judges later, as we have. And oh god, I couldn't do the name then. I had a massive brain fart. We've got Angie from France leading in timer from Estonia. Let's see what happens in this next battle. And here we go. So we got Angie leading in timer. What can we see between the two? E36 versus E46. But contact made from timer. What could have happened there? Maybe it's just not enough angle and just make contact. But now Angie's going to come around for vengeance in the chase. They have swap positions. But that is going to be an interesting, very interesting first part of the battle. So as you can see here, plenty of angle, but maybe just timer going for too much of a dive, trying to catch up too quickly. And, maybe that's what caused the contact, or did Angie just decel too much and going around the corner, which gave them too much momentum in the chase? We'll have to see.
I did see Angie losing some angle right before the contact happened, so it might have been that he put too much on the brakes, slowed down a little bit.
Potentially. We'll have to see, though. It's all down to the judges' decision, as we have timer now in the lead with Angie in the chase as they initiate in. Lovely stuff so far from timer. Angie just making sure they are there doing what they need to do as they transition now. Ooh, lovely transition there from Angie as they come around into the power alley. What can they do with the rest of this run? He's got to make sure it's as tidy as possible as they come around past the office. Looking very good, but could be closer there from Angie as they come around across the line. That was could have been a bit closer. This one's going to have to go. Nope.
Since the first battle didn't really happen, like they don't really have anything to judge by. So yeah.
Well, it's one of those where it's just going to be whoever's down to deemed at fault for the contact, I think.
Yes. Yes.
That is the main part. That is the deciding factor. As we have them sat at the waiting area now. Yeah, it's a difficult one. So left for Angie, right for timer, who is going into the top 8 to meet Andres Kleinsberg. And it is going to Angie, which means timer must be at fault for the contact going in too hard. And unfortunately, he is going to be knocked out in the top 16.
Unfortunate.
But now we are moving back to the one more time battle between Dominic Spursmanis and Ihor. This is going to be an interesting one because Dominic is a very aggressive chase driver. Hopefully it doesn't bite him too much, as Ihor has been doing a nice job so far this round as Dominic leads in Ihor once again. Ukrainian versus the Latvian. What have we got on the initiation? Ihor making sure he's nice and safe, doesn't get too aggressive. Nice on the pocket there. as he transition now. Lovely transition there from Ihor, right on the bucket of the door once again of Dominic Bergmanis as they transition once again. Look at Ihor, he is absolutely on fire right now as they come around past the office. Will Dominic make the same mistake by touching the concrete? No, he will not on the touch and go and across the line.
That was nice. That was beautiful. Very good proximity from Ihor.
That was a textbook run between the two, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Lovely lead from Dominic. Ihor just absolutely there, just doing exactly what he needed to do. Beautiful, beautiful work between both of these drivers. Now it's down to Dominic to see what he can do in that chase. Hopefully he doesn't get too aggressive. But here we go. Second half of the battle. Ihor leading in. Dominic Bergman is now in the chase. Ukrainian versus Latvian. Who will take the top spot into the top 8 as Ihor does a lovely initiation, but Dominic having a bit of a shallow angle there, chasing in Ihor. But as they transition now, Dominic got a bit shallow on the line as well. He is trying to get too aggressive. This is what he's notorious for. He can go too hard. But as they come around to the office now, making contact, sending Ihor onto the grass bank. And unfortunately, that could be the end of Dominic's reign on this round. Our second to top qualifier might be getting knocked out in the top 16.
Yeah, that's a doozy. Really sad to see that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that is... I knew he'd do something like this though. I know Dominic all too well. We have driven together for a long time and he does get a bit too excited in the chase. And unfortunately he just didn't settle back or keep it balanced when he needed to. So we'll have to see what the judges think as we wait for their decision. As you can see, Moist Skids in the semaphore, sat in the middle there, kind of just waiting for him to get a judge's decision. And
yeah, they're not doing donuts this time around. Not happy about this.
No, they are not. So left for Dominic Bergmanis, right for Ihor, who is going into the top 8 against Vova. But nails are being bitten. And it is a unanimous decision for Ihor, which means Dominic is at cause for that contact, of course. Getting too aggressive. And it just, I thought, like I said before the MT, it was going to bite him. It was going to bite him back if he got too aggressive. But now, here is your top 8 bracket going into the next section of the competition, which is Luciano versus Matisse, Bernardo versus Ritums, Ihor versus Vova, and Andreas versus Angie. So this is going to be a very stacked top 8. We are getting so much closer to that top spot, and the action doesn't stop there.
Oh yeah, I hope it wasn't my caster's curse that eliminated Dominic's. I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that.
To be honest, it is a bad habit of his that took himself out, unfortunately, and I will... it's a shame because he has got a lot of talent behind him, but he just, unfortunately, sometimes doesn't know when to pull back, and he's just like me, he gets very excitable in the chase.
Yeah, I know how that is. I've tapped way too many doors and basically killed the lead driver when being in the chase on this track as well with these cars.
Yep.
Sometimes happens.
The main thing to remember is it is a non-contact sport, so you've got to try and make sure you do not make any contact with the lead driver, and it is down to you and you alone. Unfortunately, it's just the way of it's the law of the jungle in drifting.
Yeah, but of course, since these cars are not the most powerful, they also don't have the most powerful brakes. So losing your speed is also not as instant as it would be in a pro spec car as well.
Yeah, it's just how it is though. Welcome to drifting, everyone.
Some very loud engines right outside my window. We got a lot of snow in Latvia at the moment, so I've been hearing a lot of high revs in the neighborhood lately. These last few days, which
everyone's just trying to get through the snow like.
Yesterday it was for like 20-30 minutes consecutive, like without stopping. Somebody was on a rip.
I was the same in my MX-5 when we had snow in the UK. I went out to do some skidding and it got a lot slippier than I was expecting it to be, because in the UK we don't get snow often, and when it comes down it's either nothing or a lot. And it was starting to snow. Well, me and my friend, who's also Latvian, mind you, we went out in my MX-5 and his at the E36, and we were just kind of going having a look and see what was going on with the snow. And it was kind of chill. We found a spot where it was starting to set nicely, and we had a couple of fun like donuts and skids. And then out of nowhere, as we started going back towards the centre of our town, it just started chucking it down with snow, and everything was caked. We tried to go up a hill, and we almost thought we were going to start sliding backwards.
Well, it is a rule of thumb that when you drift in rain, your car feels like it's twice the horsepower than it is, as it just kicks out a lot more, and on the snow it feels like it has 4 times it.
Oh no,
It's
it
really
almost
easy to
feels
throw them.
it almost feels like it's got no horsepower. It's just it's going nowhere.
No, I mean
You
just as how easy it is to throw the back out.
Oh yeah,
At least
yeah.
from that perspective.
We had a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Unfortunately, I did almost overheat the car at one point because I was limiter bashing quite a lot. It's probably why my old engine blew, to be honest.
Yeah, I hope I'm not going to get prosecuted for this, but actually in real life I drive a Subaru, and that's a really fun car for snow tracks.
It's a fun car to have head gasket failures as well.
I haven't had those before, but unfortunately mine's been standing for a year, so I have to basically revive it now.
Ah, full engine rebuild. Get it done, lad. Get it turboed.
Yeah, I should.
Oh wait, is it
I
turboed?
really wouldn't like to. No, it's not.
I was going to say a lot of the EJs are turboed from factory, but then I think that's for the STIs, isn't it? Rather than the standard
Yeah.
Imprezas.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't mind
I
having an
don't-
EJ though, just for the fun of it.
Oh, but they're also really expensive.
Yes. Although I could afford a Subaru at the moment. I'm debating on it, but then it's like, do I want Subaru problems? I don't know.
It's definitely worth to have one for the winter if you can just store it in a dry garage for the rest of the year, and then take
but
it
I
out
need
for
it for a
some winter
daily.
tracks. Like
I need
I
it
do
daily.
have a car, a track like 25 kilometers from my home, where they organize track days 2 or 3 times a week, every week, all throughout the year. So I was going there last winter quite a bit with the Subaru. That's some really fun.
I bet. As we now have the drivers on the track, as you can see, they've probably got the pit order, and basically got told, get off the track, otherwise we're going to have problems. As we have our first battle of the top 8, Luciano versus Matisse, coming up towards the line. Are they going to scrub their tyres? No, they're not. They're street cars. They don't care. And it is going to be E46 versus E46 to start things off in the top 8. So here you go, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between. This is your first battle of DKRTR Street Round 2 at Driftland in the top 8. Here we go. Luciano doing a nice initiation there with Matisse getting very aggressive, almost overcooking it, but manages to save it as they come around in the first transition. But look at Matisse just right on the door of Luciano, the Portuguese driver, in the lead as they come around out, but sacrificing his line to get proximity, which is never probably the best idea, but he manages to make it work as they come across the line. Lovely work between the two of these.
Yeah, almost a textbook chase from Matisse there. Loved every single bit of it. At the end, of course, sacrificing the line for proximity is not the best idea, but you have to do what you have to do. Let's just hope that the judges aren't going to be too disappointed about it.
We will have to see. And once again,
Yeah.
we'd like to remind everyone it is a judge sport, so no matter how hard the drivers drive, it all comes down to the judges, and I would not want to be in their seat.
Oh yeah.
I mean, a lot of people say the same about commentating or driving, so it's all about preference, but here we go. Matisse in the lead, the Latvian leading in the Portuguese man, Luciano, but getting caught up on the initiation. This is the thing about the side-by-side, you've got to be careful, but Luciano doing a good job so far in the chase as he manages to get towards the door again, but kind of losing his proximity as he comes into the power alley. Matisse doing a lovely lead as he comes around now past the offices. Luciano going for the jab, but just losing his line once again, or should I say proximity, as they transition and across the line. Unfortunately, just having too many jabs and not keeping the proximity where it needed to be.
Yeah, it kind of looks like Matisse has his car dialed in a tiny bit better than Luciano does.
I have to
Because
agree
his
with you.
runs are really smooth. No
They are
hiccups.
indeed. Do you know what's funny, Ed? When I look back, when I think about how fast I'm talking in some of these runs, I start thinking I may as well like. I'm shocked I'm able to get words out with the speed I'm talking.
Oh yeah, I'm quite surprised I can even understand it, but I'm keeping track. I'm keeping track.
So
At
that
the
was my
moment.
rendition of Rap God by Eminem.
Yeah, shall I give you the beat for the next one?
Yeah. Let's not do that. I don't want to embarrass myself even more.
No, I don't want to embarrass anyone with my beatboxing skills as well, so I'll refrain.
The classic boots and cats. But as you can see,
Oh yeah.
Luciano's lead was good. Matisse was right where he needed to be, but shallowing out the line there as he came towards the office. But a really nice run between the two. But once again, judges are going to have to think about this. And these guys are driving their hearts out, so a big thank you to all the drivers who have turned up and are currently thrown down for everyone, as they are going to want to take that top spot. But it's going to be going into the top 4, that is the question. As we're getting to that latter half of the competition now, left for Luciano, right for Matisse, who's going to be taking the first spot in the top 4. Getting a chance at the final, and it is going to Matisse, just putting on that little bit more, and it is unanimous. So unfortunately, Luciano's run ends here. The Portuguese dream will have to be carried by, I think, this man right here. So we have Bernardo versus Rittums. I can't remember. Is Bernardo Portuguese? Yes, he is. So this is our last Portuguese driver in the grid. Can he keep the Portuguese dream alive? We will have to see as Bernardo chases in Rittums. Bernardo being an absolute unit of a driver. And Rittums also showing his worth so far as they initiate in. But look at the dive from Bernardo, but kind of losing a bit of space there as they come around now into the first transition. Bernardo doing a lovely job as he gets the dive right onto the pocket where he needs to be. Rittums doing a solid job on the lead so far though as they come around across the office. And look at the proximity from Bernardo as they come around into the touch and go and across the line. Lovely stuff there. And midway through that run I actually got a notification from my Royal Mail saying that my thermostat's coming tomorrow, so happy days.
Oh. Beautiful.
Good news all around. What a run, and good news on my end.
Yeah, Bernardo's chases are just insane. I love seeing the consistency of it, that he just puts it right up to the door every single time. Might have been a little bit of contact there right after the office. What do you think?
Too short. It looked like he just went for the jab, went for the little dive and just pulled back. Sometimes when you pull back it's quite sudden, so it looks like almost contact, but we'll have to see with Bernardo in the lead, Rittums in the chase. What can the Portuguese dream stay alive as they initiate in? Rittums just getting the right dive as they come into the first transition out from out of clip 2. Doing a lovely job so far, keeping it nice and clean. Rittums is just where he needs to be, but can he get even closer than Bernardo? That is the question as they come around the office, doing a lovely job so far. Rittums just right where he wants to be as Bernardo comes across and does a lovely lead and across the line. That is going to be an interesting one for the judges, and I feel like it is going to make their lives a lot harder.
Yeah, for this one I also wouldn't want to be in judge's place as well. Really decent lead run from Bernardo and a really decent chase run from Rittums as well. Maybe an inch less proximity than Bernardo had in his, but I think he just wasn't that jittery in his chase run. He was way more smooth.
It's a difficult one, as you can see in the chat. People are saying close bond. Yep, it is a close bond. And
OMT question mark?
yeah, potentially could be an OMT. We'll have to see. Can the judges find a deciding factor that tips it to one side? That is the question.
I wouldn't mind seeing these two go at it again.
We will have to see.
Looks like judges need an additional replay to decide.
I can't tell whether this is for the stream or the judges, but probably for the stream. And we do
Maybe,
have a
maybe.
decision. Is it going to Bernardo or is it going to Rittums on the right? Or could it be an OMT? And it is going to Rittums! Unfortunately, just there was a part of the run that Bernardo just didn't have quite right. So unfortunately, he will not be moving into the top 8, and my bracket on my sheet has just died. Uh-oh.
Same.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Our
Uh-oh.
data sheet's broken. Oh, no.
Somebody deleted the spreadsheet.
Oh, that is very stressful. But we now have Vova in the lead with Ihor to chase in. So, let's see what happens with this battle. As obviously we can see with... I pressed refresh
I did.
twice.
I did too. Yeah.
It's still
It's
not
coming
working.
back up.
It said internal range error. So I don't know if that means anything to you, Edgar. But unfortunately, it's not my job to be looking at the spreadsheet right now. It is to be commentating on this run, which Vova is doing a lovely initiation, but Ihor doing a bit of a stressful, well, stressful, a bit of a shallow line there in the chase as they come around now, but he manages to get it back and nice. Vova doing a lovely job in the lead, but Ihor is right on the door, doing a lovely lead and a lovely chase as they come across the line. Not too shabby at all, that's all.
Oh yeah. I believe we have our data back. Just a small hiccup in Google Drive.
Yes, I got it. I've got it. Happy days. What did you think of that run?
I didn't see half of it, so I'm now taking it in as the replay plays. I do think Ihor could have a little bit of a better angle at the beginning of it, but look at the end here. That is some good stuff. All the proximity. Very close to him. Very close to Ihor. No, to
There
Vova.
we go. We will have to see as Vova chases in Mr. Ihor as they initiate. Look at that from Vova though, straight away on the door as they come around now to the central power alley. What can they do as Vova is right on the door of Ihor, doing a lovely lead line so far as they come around now to the office. But look at the proximity from Vova right on the door of Ihor as they come around to the touch and go at the end and across the line. What a chase from Vova.
Yeah, decent stuff. Although I think he might have straightened out for a second there just before the finish line. Let's see in the replay now, but yeah, this was another really good chase run. Oh wow, the proximity here. I really like seeing them go side by side, like door to door basically, not the front of the car towards the back of the other's car. That looks way much better, but it is a bit of an inside line then that you have to take.
I've just had
It's a
some really
thin
good
margin.
news. I've just had some really good news. I don't have to go and spend extra money to buy a some gasket sealant, which is nice for my thermostat housing. Oh, thank God!
Congratulations.
I know, not having to spend as much money. But yes, what a run between these two. They are really going in hard. Vova really impressing me at the moment with his performance, and Ihor once again another driver that is also impressing me. And, yeah, there's some insane driving going on, and I can see in the comments that people are a bit struggling to understand the result of the last battle, and to be honest, I can't really answer that at the moment as I'm not a judge. But left for Ihor, right for Vova, who is going into the top 8 on this half of the bracket, and it is one more time, so they couldn't decide. Obviously, it wasn't unanimous, but one went towards the opposition. But we will be seeing them shortly as we have Andreas Kleinsberg going against Angie now, and they're sat at the line. Hopefully, we can get a understanding of what happened in that other battle with Bernardo from the judges, so we can let you guys know, as we do understand that some of these battles are interesting in the judging calls. But now we have Andreas Kleinsberg leading in Angie, so Latvia versus France. Oh, my voice is starting to go. But here we go as the lights go green. Who is going to take this spot into the top 4 as they initiate in? Angie kind of being a bit hesitant on the chase, but they get the nice dive there as they come around in the first transition towards the power alley. Andreas Kleinsberg doing a lovely job in the lead. Angie's just kind of hanging back, kind of waiting for the dive, but there it is right on the door as we come around now to the touch and go and the transition across the line.
Good stuff again.
lovely,
that's
lovely
what
work.
we get when we get closer to the finals in top 8s. Way closer battles. People are just getting into each other's doors more and more. Some lovely stuff.
It is crazy.
I could watch this all day, every day.
My throat is slowly dying. These
Oh,
guys
get a
are
cup of
making me
water.
scream. Don't you worry, I've got a can of cider right next to me, so
Oh,
don't
great.
drink and commentate, folks. It's not good for you. But here we go. We have Angie now in the lead with Andres in the chase. As we just wait for them to get sent off. As we have a bit of a discussion going on about that battle with Bernardo in the chat. And here we go, Angie leading in Andres Kleinsberg. We'll have to see what happens as Andres chases in the French. Lovely dive there from Andres Kleinsberg as they now get ready for the transition. What can he do? Nice dive. Look at the dive there from Andres Kleinsberg, getting right into the pocket when he needed to be. As they come around out of the power alley towards the office, doing a lovely job between the two of them. Angie doing a nice lead, but Andres is right there on the door as they transition across the finish line, and what a run between them.
Good stuff from Angie, but Andres does what Andres does best and puts his tire on Andres' door. All throughout the track, yeah.
Just doing what he needed to do. That is your
Yeah.
standard Andres moment. It is real Andres
Angie's-
hours.
Angie's chase run was also nothing to scoff at, so of course Andres knows that he needed to push hard.
For
And
sure,
lovely
for
this
sure.
time. No contact, no mistakes.
Yeah, very clean battle, that is sure. But who is going to be going into the top 4 between these two? Obviously, this is not the last battle in the top 8, as we are going to be seeing Ihor and Vova again for their OMT. As you can see, they've just got back up to the start line. Get ready for their OMT battle, but we are getting just another replay so you can have another look at the battle. Obviously, Angie just struggling to get the proximity at the start, but manages to get it into clip 2, which is really, really nice to see.
Yeah, smooth and steady. That wasn't even a big jump to get the proximity back. It was inch
Very
by
smooth.
inch, centimeter by centimeter, as you would say in these parts of the world.
So left for Andres Kleinsberg, right for Angie, who is going into the top 4. And it is Andres Kleinsberg moving in to the top 4 of DKRTR Round 2 Street Series. As I am still waiting for the spreadsheet to update, to be honest.
Oh, it's backed up a long time already. Just refresh it.
Also, it's not a unanimous decision there.
Uh-huh.
So it is going to Andres Kleinsberg, and for some reason it's not updated on my side. What is going on today? Honestly. I can't see on my sheet that the result. I don't know. Either way, we know that Andres has got through. Brilliant driving between the two of them. Angie put on a good battle. But now we have Ihor versus Vova for their OMT battle, which will decide who goes against Andres Kleinsberg. I think, are we just waiting on them to get onto the track? I'm pretty sure they're already in there.
They should, at least, if they didn't decide to leave the server for some random reason.
I'm not too sure, but either way, there we go. They are at the line. Awesome stuff. So now we have Ihor with Vova being the lead driver. Ihor in the chase. E36 versus E36 versus Grey versus White. Let's see what they do again. Vova and Ihor have been going at each other hard in the previous battle before the OMT, but look at that. Ihor going for the big dive, maybe a bit shallow on the line, but manages to make it work as they come around. Big dive once again onto the power alley as they come around. Now another transition. What can they do around the office? Is Ihor going to be on the door? Yes, he is. He's right there in the pocket where he needs to be, as Vova does a lovely lead line as they transition across the line. Ihor definitely putting the pressure on. Vova making sure that they left a very clean lead for Ihor to chase, as in drifting is all about a good lead. Opens it up for a good chase.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can see that they definitely practice together, I think, since both being Ukrainians, I could imagine.
Oh yeah.
I could definitely imagine that they perfectly know how to anticipate each other's moves. Very good stuff.
Indeed. And as they're back at the line, swapped around. Vova chasing an Einhorn once again. Are we going to see that signature dive on the initiation side by side? Here we go. Vova right there on the door once again. Like the last battle before the OMT as they go through clip 2, as they transition now towards the power alley, looking very solid. Einhorn doing a lovely lead so far. As you can see, his tires are in that A clip as they wanted to see it in qualifying. As they come around past the office, Vova is just right there on the rear tire as they transition across the line. That is a great battle between these two Ukrainians.
Yeah, I think Voa straightened a little bit just before, just here. Watch this. And there's a little bit of a straighten here.
I think that could potentially be down to getting ready for the transition though as well. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say. It depends on what the judges see. As
that really didn't
say
happen
all
when,
weekend.
Yeah, I don't think that happened when Ihor was in the lead though, in the chase I mean. So I kind of think that inches it out for him.
Maybe, but it's Ihor on the left or Vova on the right who is going to be meeting Andrus Kleinsberg in the top 4, and it's Ihor taking down Vova, and we're going to be seeing him in the top 4. Oh, and we are having a judge come to join us and explain why Ihor is going through. Welcome! Can we get a quick explanation then on what just happened?
Hey guys, Arman's here. Yeah, so Vova was 2 wheels outside the track on the first turn, so that's automatically a 0 on the first run. And since Ihor didn't make any critical mistakes, he got the points for his lead. It's automatically a win.
So there you go. That is the reason, and this is why the judges can see more, and this is why they have the best angles they have. Thank you so much, and thank you for all you've been doing this weekend as we move on into the top 4. What a guy. The judges do check every angle and they make sure that they are making this fair for everyone. So our top 4 bracket is as follows: Matisse versus Ritums, and then Ihor versus Andrus Kleinsberg. This is looking to be a very interesting set of battles, and I know all these boys are going to be going very hard in this top 4, which means who's going to be going for the battle for 3rd and who's going to be going to the final.
Yeah, this is a really stacked top 4 indeed, and I'm not going to make any guesses. I don't want to jinx anyone again. So let's just see the runs, and best of luck to the drivers. I am pretty sure these are going to be some really good tandems that we're about to see.
I couldn't agree more. And obviously, this first one in the top 4 is going to be for the first place in the final. So this is going to be a lot of weight riding on their shoulders.
Yes.
And it's going to be crazy. And obviously, we've got our 9th qualifier versus the 5th. And then we're going to have our 18th qualifier versus the 3rd qualifier. So this is a very interesting set of battles.
Yes.
As you can see that, we have Matisse coming up to the line. Oh no, that's Rhythm, sorry. Matisse is in the 36. And he is the high qualifier, which means he is going to be... Oh no, Rhythm, sorry, is the high qualifier, so he's in the 36. So he is going to be in the lead. I'm reading things wrong today, I don't know what's going on with me. But yep, so we have Rhythms versus Matisse. Rhythms leading in, Matisse in the chase. Here we go, this is your first battle of the top 4. A place for the final. Look at the contact being made from Matisse, going absolutely crazy, going before even clip 2 as they transition now coming in towards the power alley. Rhythms is doing a great lead, but Matisse is right on his case, making sure he taps him, and he's saying, bro, I am not done with you. You are not getting into that final. I will make sure of that in the chase as they come around now, transitioning across the line. What a first half of this battle. This is really where all the cards have been pulled.
That was some wild stuff from Matisse. Look at the proximity here. Definitely taps him 2 times, but it doesn't throw Rhythms off course. Not even the slightest bit. I was looking for a word that I couldn't find in my vocabulary for some reason. Oh wow!
Insane stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, Matisse putting on the pressure that he needs to put on. Rhythms has now got all the weight on his shoulders to how to make a better chase and hope that Matisse does a mistake in the lead. and it's obviously vice versa. So here we go, Matisse leading in Rhythms. Here we go. That's half of the battle. What can they do as they initiate in? Rhythms not as close though, but gets the dive as they come around now into clip 2, transitioning towards the power alley. Rhythms doing a nice job though, as Matisse does a smooth lead line for him to chase. Transitioning towards the office now. Here they come. This is where things get close. Rhythms right there on the rear quarter of Matisse as they come for the transition. And just a bit of a late transition, so this is going to be an interesting one for the judges to do. But a great battle, nevertheless, between the two.
Yeah, indeed. I'm still thinking about Matisse's chase from the last run. Oh, that was a sight to behold as well. Of course, Rhythms also held his ground in this one and didn't let down. Very nice from him, and very nice in the Matisse, from Matisse in the lead as well. Good proximity. Oh, I just don't know what to say about this. Just if you're seeing what you're seeing, then you know it's. I really don't envy the judges on this one as well. I would have not only bitten my nails but my entire fingers off.
So we're just getting another replay here. Obviously, the judges now we're at towards the final.
Ooh.
This is where the decisions have to be really, really careful. I mean, they're going to be doing that the whole round, but this is where it really comes down to the most nail-biting choices. As Ihor and Andreas Kleinsberg are at the line, getting ready for their top 4 battle as well. But this is the battle to get into the final. And whoever loses this battle will be going for the battle for 3rd. So they still have a chance to get a podium. But it's not going to be a smooth sailing. So left from Matisse, right from Rhythms, who is going to the final of round 2 of DKRTR Street at Driftland. One more time, and it is going to Rhythms. He is going to the final, and Matisse still has that chance to get a podium at the battle for 3rd. So we will be seeing who is going to be in the battle for 3rd now with Ihor and Andres, and who will be facing Rhythms in the final. Really good battle between the two. And wow, just wow. What a battle between the two. Matisse probably just getting a bit too aggressive.
Couldn't agree more. That was wild.
Oh yeah.
So let's see what Ihor and Andres can muster up.
Oh yeah, this is going to be something, as Ihor has been fighting hard. Andres just doing what he has to do. But here we go. Our last top 4 battle of the evening, of the weekend. Here we go, Andreas Kleinsberg leading in Ihor. Here we go, nice initiation, big flick between the two. Ihor right there on the pocket where he needs to be, but loses a bit of ground, but gets a nice opportunity for a transition there. Gets the dive, could be a bit closer. Andreas doing a lovely lead line though so far as they come around towards the office, but Ihor is right there on the door where he needs to be, almost pushing Andreas towards this last section and across the line.
Very good. Very smooth lead run from Andres there, but Ihor also staying in the doors almost the entire run. Andres will have to sweat bullets for this one. He'll have to put up a really good chase run for this.
Can't agree with you more. This is they're both really smooth though. That's the key thing about this run. They were both extremely smooth, extremely clean, and that's what we want to see. This is a very, very good battle.
In top 4, when battling for a place on the podium, that is exactly what you want to see. Exactly,
and it shows their ability. But here we go. This is going to be the last half of the battle. Who will be going to the final to meet Rhythms, and who will be going into the battle for 3rd with Matisse? But look at Andreas Kleinsberg right there. Falls behind on the transition, but gets the dive back onto the door of Ihor. Losing a bit of angle there on the lead, but doing a good job so far nevertheless, as Andreas gets a really nice dive there on the door as they come across the line. Whoa.
Interesting.
It's definitely something. Ihor, obviously, one thing I would like to point out though on this run, you can see Andres does a really nice dive here, pulls back for the transition, loses a bit of space, but as you can see, coming into this clip on the power alley, Ihor does lose a lot of angle, which could punish him potentially, as that's not what they will want to be seeing. You want to have a nice, you don't want to have too much angle, but you don't want to be losing angle throughout that whole section.
Yeah, it's really hard to chase. It's really hard to chase if the lead driver doesn't have a lot of angle there.
Exactly, so we'll have to see what the judges say. And this is the battle to meet Rhythms in the final. and also to meet Matisse in the battle for third. So this still both of either way, both of these drivers get a chance at the podium regardless. But as you can see here, Andreas's lead now. Ihor just falling back a bit there, but manages to get a good dive. It's anyone's battle right now. Down to
Indeed.
small. It could go either way, so we'll have to see. Ihor does a
OMP
really
question
nice
mark.
job here. Potentially, as is left for Ihor, right to Andreas, who is going to be going into the final with Rittens. And it is Andreas Kleinsberg meeting I think, are they teammates? Are they both RTRiga drivers?
No, Ihor is Ukrainian. Andres, though, is an RTRiga driver.
No, that's what I mean. Is Ritam say?
Oh, yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember. So they're both
He is.
teammates, aren't they?
Yes.
So yep, RTRiga versus RTRiga in the final. So Ihor will now be going against Matisse for the battle for third. So they both have a chance to get the podium still.
Disclaimer, it's definitely not rigged. Please trust us.
I don't think that helps, to be honest. It's usually. But honestly, all of these guys have been driving their hearts out throughout this entire event. And here we go. Matisse and Ihor. Matisse leading in Ihor. And this is the battle for third. So this is still a chance at the podium. So it's anyone's game right now. As we have the Ukrainian versus the Latvian. Once again, E46 versus E36. This is now the decider to see which one is actually God's chassis. Here we go as Matisse fires it down the main straight with Ihor in chase. Nice big initiation, but look at Ihor running on the front pocket of Matisse. Doing right what he needs to do, but almost getting caught up in that transition, but gets right back onto the door. Matisse doing a lovely job in the lead so far. Has to come around towards the office. Look at Ihor just right on the door, pushing him as hard as he can. He's like, no, I want this podium. I want it now. You are not getting the chance as they come across the line.
Beautiful stuff. Where was this proximity from Ihor when he was battling Andres?
Honestly,
That
I
was
think
really
it's
good.
This awoken something in him, that is for sure.
Yeah.
Lovely
That last
Ihor.
fight for the podium.
Honestly, this is the best form I've seen Ihor on all night. Honestly, I'm struggling right now. My nose is struggling so much. My throat is getting clogged up. Oh, I'm a mess. There's too
Looks like
much
it.
going on.
Probably gets a bit longer for him to get warmed up, maybe, or I don't know. But yeah, great run.
Here we go. Ihor leading in Matisse. Here we go. This is your battle for third, everyone. Ihor leading in. Matisse doing a nice initiation, but Matisse is right there where he needs to be as they transition now in towards Power Alley. But look at the dive from Matisse. He is right where he needs to be. Ihor doing a solid job in the lead, though. Oh, but getting caught up there. Was there contact potentially? We'll have to see what the judges say as they come around now, coming around across the line.
Yeah, interesting fight. I think there might have been contact, but from the angle that we're watching, it's really hard to judge that.
I do agree. Not
But
the
we've
easiest
seen
one.
Matisse, put up some really good chase runs all day today, and we know that he was definitely not holding back for this one either, especially from the chase that Ihor just put up against him. He just had to give it their all.
Here's go
All
hard
the
or go
means.
go hard or go home. And honestly, I'm starting to get tired. It's that towards the end of the event, my throat's starting to hurt. Everything's just going downhill, but the drivers are going up. But that's what we do.
Well,
We put our voices and throats on the line to entertain all of you, as well as the drivers, driving their hearts out. As you can see there, look at the dive from Ihor on that initiation. Just
Yeah, that was
wow.
crazy.
This is the best form you've seen him on all weekend.
Yeah, also good transitions, so good anticipation on what the lead driver is going to do, and putting him in the right spot.
That is technical driving. Maybe he's just getting a bit caught up on that last transition now. But it is all down to the chase for chase, lead for lead, what the judges see. Who is going to be taking third place at the second round of Drift King of RTRiga Street here in Driftland, Scotland? That is the question. And I can guarantee you they're both sat there on that holding area with their legs clenched, to say the least. I would be, especially this late into the competition.
Oh yeah, sure. As we get another look at iHorse lead. Oh,
Here we go. Left for Matisse, right for Ihor, who is getting the 3rd place spot at round 2 of DKRTR Street. And it is a one more time. So, wow, okay, so that is very interesting. Not unanimous though. Obviously, one went towards the opposition. But I'm going to guess we're going to get them straight back out now because obviously it's the final.
Yes.
So there is no other group. So, we're going to get them back onto the line and going again for their 3rd place battle. Here we go. So we got Matisse back in the lead. Ihor back in the chase. I'm going to have a swig of my strongbow before this starts. Here we go. The lights go green. With Matisse in the lead, but the Ukrainian is close in the chase. Nice dive there from Ihor. Not as close as before, but making sure he is nice and safe. Not making any mistakes as they come around into the power alley. Matisse doing a lovely lead. Ihor right there on the door. Oh, but loses the ground a lot there. Matisse gapping him as they come around into the transition across the line. That is interesting. I wonder what happened there.
Yeah, maybe a bit too much angle right at the when transitioning from the previous clip towards office. Maybe that slowed him down.
Maybe.
Also a little bit of jittering here.
It could be that Matisse just kind of shallowed up on the angle a bit and tried to get the jump on him. As you can see here, I mean, I'm not too sure. It's hard to say. We'll have to see what the judges think of that. But that is a big gap formed there between the two. So Ihor's going to have to go hard. Matisse is going to probably do the same in the chase. As he knows he made that gap. So here we go. Ihor in the lead. Hopefully for the last time tonight. Here we go, but look at the dive from Matisse right on the door there on Ihor as they come around ready for the transition. Doing a lovely job so far, but right on the door again as they come around through the center of the power alley in the transition towards the office. But Matisse is just right where he needs to be and absolutely all over Ihor right now as they transition across, but making contact as they come across the line. Oh, they are not making it easy for us. All the judges.
Yeah.
I would hate to be a judge right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. Look at this. That was so close from Matisse. Loses a little bit of ground on this transition, but basically immediately gains it right back up. And let's look at the end here. He's very close side by side as well. Nice. And yep, a little bit of contact there. Might have been Matisse's fault for the contact though, which would work against him, of course.
I do think he got a bit too close in the pocket and didn't pull away in time. But we'll have to see what the judges say. Obviously, this is for the battle for 3rd. I don't know if we have the rule of is as many OMTs as possible, but usually it's the case of you only get 2 OMTs until a decision has to be made. I'm not too sure if that's the same here, but we'll have to see. But
I have no idea. I don't think we've seen 2 OMTs yet, at least in the street class, in the street race.
We'll have to see. But right now, it's just about that gap that's been made, and obviously the contact at the end of the second run. It all comes down to those 2 moments, I'd say, as we have them sat there in the holding area waiting for their result. So left for Matisse, right for Ihor, who is going to be taking 3rd place here at round 2 of DKRTR Street. And it's said one more time again!
A unanimous at that.
So remember what you said about you've not seen one in the street so far. How does that feel? How do you like them apples?
Caster's curse, I would say, but on the best side of the Caster's curse. You know.
So this is going to be the deciding factor now. This is going to have to be all or nothing. All cards on the table to get the podium. They're definitely making it hard for everyone in the judging panel. And here we go.
Stressful.
Oh god. My nasal cavity is going crazy, but here we go. Matisse leading in Ihor once again. Oh, can he get the dive? Yes, he can. Right on the door. Off Matisse there. Loses a bit proximity, but gets ready for the dive. Oh my god, Ihor is really wanting this battle. Here we go as they come around to the office, looking very nice. Got lovely proximity, but he's not going to get gapped this time by Matisse as they come around now on the last transition. Textbook chase from Ihor there, and a lovely lead from Matisse.
Well, these two already know each other others' driving styles inside out after these last runs. I think they're just giving it their all.
Honestly, it's like watching a Dragon Ball fight. It's just everyone's just going all in. I'm pretty sure Ihor and has just gone Super Saiyan. Pretty
Yeah,
sure
that was
I can see the yellow hair coming out of the helmet.
Yeah, his helmet I think is red. Yeah, you can see it here.
Super Saiyan God. Oh,
He had
brilliant
some
stuff.
really nice transitions, really well anticipated. Lovely stuff.
Indeed, but now we have Ihor in the lead and Matisse in the chase, making sure they use all of that room that they can on the initiation. But look at Matisse, he's right there on the door of Ihor as they come around now to the first transition. Lovely stuff there from Matisse.
Nice.
Perfect transition as they come around to the power alley. Lovely line from Ihor so far though, as they come around towards the office. What has he got for us? And look at Matisse right all over him. Will he make the same mistake as the last time? Yes, he does. He does make contact once again.
Oh
It's
no.
just unfortunate, making the same mistake as the last battle. He's getting too
Oh,
aggressive in that
no.
last transition. It's common to happen though. Honestly, even in SVDS, it's happened in that area of the track so many times. I'm guilty of it myself. You get too far in the pocket and you don't pull out on time and you make contact, and that can be the deciding factor of a battle.
In SVDS, would that also be a transition, or you would straighten out after it?
Usually this is a transition leading up to another section of the track. We don't usually
I
end
see.
there. So
Mhm.
I've had an interesting set of battles on that layout on the bank. If you don't know, we do have a banked layout as well. So behind the start line there, usually there is a big bank which goes all the way around and links the two parts of the track, which is pretty cool.
Oh, wow, okay. I did not know that, yeah. That sounds really fun.
Definitely check it out, it's really fun to drive. But as you can see here, Matisse's lead, really nice. But I do think that Ihor just had the cleaner chase.
Yeah,
As you can see there, no
from
contact.
him.
I think that is going to be the deciding factor that could be seeing. Then again, no, we can't see all the angles, so it's all down to what the judges see, and they have a lot more angles than us. So left for Matisse, right for Ihor for the last time tonight. Who is taking third place at DKRTR Street? Round 2, and it is Matisse. That is an interesting one. So Matisse is going to be your third place, and once again, Martin's not going with. But going towards Matisse and saying one more time, I don't think he could have gone for another one more time. I don't think I could have gone for one more time. But unfortunately, Ihor is going to be taking 4th place, and Matisse is going to be taking 3rd place here at DKRTR 2025 Street Round 2. I'd definitely be intrigued to see the call on that one.
Yeah, it would be interesting to hear the judges' opinion about this one.
Yeah, I feel like that's a bit of a controversial one.
Indeed.
Are we able to get a judge to explain that one?
Let's
Not
see.
too sure. Maybe after the
not
final.
immediately,
Maybe after
yeah,
the final.
maybe.
But here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. Andreas for Kleinsberg versus Rittums. This is your final of round 2 of the DKRTR Street Series here at Scotland. Andreas getting a nice lead so far. Rittums could have been a bit closer, but a lovely transition. Falling behind, the proximity is not quite there to what I thought it would be from him, but so far not too bad. Andreas doing a solid lead, but Rittums is right there, giving a little bit of a smooch on that rear quarter as they come around and transition across the line. That is,
Yeah, that was good.
I was expecting a bit more from Rittums on that chase, to be honest. I was expecting a bit more proximity. But obviously, you never know what could happen. This is drifting, it's very unpredictable. As Andreas does a lovely lead.
Yeah, Andres definitely knows how to set his car up. He's studying to become a mechanic, if I understand correctly, so he definitely knows the ins and outs of suspensions and stuff.
That is
So
for sure.
His car is probably set up for a lot of speed.
Oh yeah.
Well, it might have not been, but of course I don't know. He also might be very knowledgeable about the stuff.
Yes, indeed. But now we have Rittums leading in. Andreas, here we go. Your final of this round. Here we go. Rittums in the lead. Andreas Kleinsberg in the chase. Once again, is kind of equal in the proximity so far. But Andreas gets a lovely dive from Rittums as they come around into the top. I almost said top 32, then into the power alley, coming around the office. But look at the proximity from Andreas Kleinsberg there as they come around. Lovely stuff and across the line.
Nice. Do you think we have a decision?
I couldn't tell you. Honestly, well, based off the last battle, it didn't go the way I thought it was going to, so you never know. It's the judges
Yeah,
see things differently to what we are. But
I was
we'll
honestly
have to see.
expecting a bit more proximity from Andres as well, as we've seen him do all throughout the race today. But yeah, he only got back onto it at the second part of the track.
We'll have to see. I mean, once again, it's down to the judges. It's always in the hands of the judges. But as you can see, they're doing donuts around Mr. Moist Skids there, who is our track manager. And and we got oh, no.
Yeah, careful.
We
You
got
can get
Matisse,
stuck.
our
You
third
can get
place
stuck on the
driver.
semaphore.
Third place, but can't do a donut around a cone. Come on, what are you doing?
No, that cone is as hard as concrete.
Oh yeah, that semaphore is no joke. As you can see, once again, Andreas Kleinsberg's lead as we wait for a decision. God, my throat. What an event it's been. Some ups, some downs, some shocks, and a lot of MTs compared to what I thought it would be. So it's going to be an interesting one.
Coming into this, would you have expected such fun and intense battles from 220 horsepower BMWs?
Oh yes, but who is going to be taking first place and who's going to be taking second at this round of DKRTR Street? Left for Rittem's, right for Andreas Kleinsberg, and Andreas Kleinsberg is your winner tonight at Driftland, taking the top spot with Rittem's taking second place, and then Matty's taking third, with Ihor taking fourth place as well. Amazing battles with all of these boys. They have done some insane driving, and I am so happy that we got to see action in Scotland in a Latvian series. It's really cool. And there you go, there's the donuts that we were wanting as the boys celebrate their victories. And honestly, it has been an amazing event, as you can see there. So the final results is can we get that up on the screen? Have we got the final results? I want to show it. Let's see it.
We do. Congratulations to Andres for the victory, and congratulations
Indeed.
also for Rittems for the second place. Yeah.
That was a great battle. So there you go. There is your final bracket. And the top three is Andreas Kleinsberg taking first, Rittems taking second, and Matisse taking third. And amazing drivers from everyone today. It has been an insane event. And who would have thought drift cars, like street cars on Driftland would be fun? This is, honestly, if you ever get the chance, go to Driftland in real life and watch the KD Customs Winter Series. It is insane because it is basically just like this, and so you get DMEC drivers going over there to practice. It is insane. But once again, we want to thank everyone who has tuned in and everyone who has turned up to drive, and a massive thank you to the Scottish Virtual Drift Series for providing the track and the layout, as well as Super Drift Virtual for providing the cars for this event. And thank you to all of our amazing sponsors and staff team for making this happen. And I think with that, we are going to finish up, as it's just been a great weekend. And how have you found it, Ed?
Oh, it was lovely. I loved seeing all of this. I was here around for the first race as well, and it was just nothing but fun and good races. And also thanks to you too for sacrificing your voice for this.
That's what I'm here for. Well, I think on that, we're going to finish up, aren't we? So thank you so much for tuning in, and well, yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for.
I've been Brandon.
Around. I've been Ed, and keep an eye on RTRiga socials and Discord for info on the next race.
We'll see you soon.